is that after making a mistake, we need to face up to it. We need to tell the truth. That is integrity, telling the truth and honoring promises no matter the consequences.
They call me a god. 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 Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing. I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. Oh, tear it up like I'm Jason. I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments. No negotiations, it's my way. I was born impatient. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation. You call me a god. 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 I don't know how to stop. I just go till I drop. Whether it's working or shots, give it all that I got. You can watch me work in my element. Anyone in the way is irrelevant. Wanna cross me, cool, not intelligent. Cause I don't forget shit like an elephant. Go ahead and tempt me. Put it on the line and you'll come up empty. If I got time, I'm deadly. Never caught off guard, no, I'm always ready. I got a hand real steady. Look me in the eye and you'll see no hezzy. About to get real messy. I'll put you in a grave 6 feet like Kenny. Call me a god. Call me a god. Call me a god.
I'm called of God. Called of God. And Tim Ballard told me he'd been called of God. Some wild-eyed prophet like...
Love me tender, love me sweet, never let me go. You have made my life complete, and I love you. Man with a gift for boy like shit like.
Oh, hey y'all. How are y'all doing tonight? Guess I could put myself in here. Hey y'all. Well, I guess Krisha got kicked out of her own live when she was getting ready to start. So we're just going to talk amongst ourselves till she gets back in. That was kind of strange. She was here and then she wasn't here. But she has a lot to say, so I hope that everybody sticks around. She'll be right back. And all this going on, more stuff in the land of Utah, Arizona, and Idaho. And I'm guessing she is going to talk about the Arizona case tonight, too. There she is. She's coming back. We'll get her in here.
Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry about that. I went to the wrong backstage.
Uh-oh.
I have to back out and then anyways.
I'm gonna
another day. How's it going, everybody? It's good to see you guys here. Happy Sunday, right? Happy Veterans Day. And I want to tell Mr. Wayne, KJ's husband, happy birthday, belated now, but I wanted to tell him here. Anyways, I hope that you have a wonderful birthday. And I know that KJ has made that happen for you. She's awesome. We love her. And we love you too. I suck at these things. So, ah, how's that for awkwardness, right? How's that? So, what y'all been doing? How's everybody doing? Hey, Janelle, how you doing? Gloria, Beach Bomb, Carrie Ann, Donna, right? Thank God. Tall Flatlander, Chili. Oh, can you pass it over here? I am drinking a cooler, not a cooler, but a not hot frappuccino, or I'm sorry, cappuccino. I don't really care for coffee or me on coffee. Oh my God, it would be horrible. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Thank you. Hey, sit and spin. Head colds. Oh, keep those over there, sister. Take some vitamin C. That sounds like my mom. I probably sound like all our moms, right? Yeah. Well, that and I don't know. I landed on a YouTube video earlier and they were talking about vitamin C. I don't know. So that's probably where it came from. I don't know why I fidget, but I do. This is just part of it. Hey, Chuck. How are you doing? We went to Chuck and I don't really know. I just say Chuck and Natalie, and I don't remember everybody's names because there's just so many people there when I go. And then we're just so excited to see each other. And if we don't talk about Mormon stuff, then I got to go sit in the corner because that's all I know right now. So I sat in the corner. No, I didn't. But it was a good time, except for Jason. He didn't feel good. So, but we came home and he's getting some good old rest and he's resting right now. So just letting him have his day, letting him have a day. Tomorrow he better be up and at him. So, but anyways, it's so dark right here. That's why I'm like, what's all over there? Okay, let me situate. Let me ground myself, okay? I can't believe they're waiting on Lori to fight her death penalty before she goes to Arizona. I know. Tell me about it. Time is all we have, though, right? Time is all she has. Chad's trying to get him some time. He's trying to get some time. Y'all. I was like, I mean, I expected this. I expected Chad to do all the things that I would do if I were stupid enough to put myself in that position, right? Right, little brands, right. I mean, I would exercise. They've exercised all the things, especially the demons, and you know what I mean. That's y'all just probably saw the light bulb go above my head when I was like exercise. Anyways, but they're gonna exercise their rights. They're going to do it to the fullest extent. They're extra anyway, so that's that. And it's just so self-serving, isn't it? In my opinion, for Chad. I mean, he's the one that's like straight up throwing Lori under the bus, you know? Like her attorney did that kinda, but she didn't like it. And he did it. See, I don't know if it appeared that Jim Archibald kind of threw those jabs in, maybe without her knowledge. And I so bad, y'all know how I told you I was writing a letter to her. I want to be like, your old man's like throwing your ass under the bus, girl. Mm-mm. But I mean, and we knew that. We saw that the first day that John Pryor showed up at Chad Daybell's preliminary hearing. Hey, DJ. He started distancing then, for sure. Oh, the shit show, right? Bring it on. Round 2. I know. I'm talking to Great Dane, Mom. I'm sorry. But I forgot. Yeah, there's so many thoughts I have all the time. Anyways, so what was I going to say? So he filed a motion to strike the death penalty as arbitrary, capricious, and disproportionate, just like his body. Just saying. He's got the long arms and he doesn't move ever. I just want to poke him with a stick. I just want to poke him, right? I don't know. He just doesn't move. And so I don't like him. I just don't like him anyways. But he looks like a toe, a big fat Barney Rubble toe. Okay. Yabba dabba doo. But he's just so what he's void of, I don't know. I'm not saying that she's a catch, but my uncle was, I'll tell you that much. And I mean, not in a weird way, but I've heard many of you ladies say that he's a good looking man. Charles was, not Chad. Chad never will be. He wanted to have what my uncle had. Chad was not happy with himself, in my opinion. Nor was Lori. They just don't know what love is. They don't know what it is to even love themselves, which is hard to do. I'm not saying that it's easy, but it's just, I don't know. They have it all wrong. Obviously. Up is down, down is up. We're going backwards. They're going to actually, whenever they do die, whenever they do meet their doomsday, they're going to go back. I don't know how it works in their little world. It's weird. But they're going to go back and then to that probation, and then the probation officer, we'll just say the probation officer of that kingdom will say, yeah, you got to go backwards a couple lives because you suck and you regressed. You're not advanced. You're not extra. I mean, you're not special. Sorry, not sorry. Right. I mean, goodness. Anyways. Okay, sorry. That was nonsensical, but hey, that's all I got. All right, so I'm gonna pull this up. Yeah, I think so too. Duty calls. She definitely downgraded. But then I feel bad for Tammy. But then, I married young too. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was getting into. But my religion, which really was non-existent, I divorced my husband. I was just like, yeah, 16 when we met, and then 24. Yeah. Anyways, so I just think that has a lot to do with it. That's the culture. That's how this goes. And I mean, we don't know who we are that young. I'm not saying I got married at 16, nor did I, but still, I got married young. They do too. They did too. It's nobody pushed me to do it or pressured me. It was just, I thought that's what you were supposed to do. Anyways, got my baby boy out of it. So that's the best thing ever. But I mean, right? What would divorce have done? And so I would love. Yeah, I know I've heard many of you say this time and time again. Waiting on the divorce papers, who's going to file, who's going to do what, when, where, and all that. And I just am like waiting for it. I'm here for that. I have the popcorn. I'll bring it. Y'all just come on. Whenever I see divorce papers fly, I want to be there. Why? Because it was against Chad. Chad couldn't divorce, but they could murder. And so that makes no sense whatsoever, does it? Hey, Philly. It doesn't make any sense. Nobody in their right mind is like, well, I say nobody, but Dateline, they have plenty of episodes. All these true crime shows. Okay. This is a true crime genre here on YouTube. Yeah, there's not a short supply, And I mean, it's always, did they have life insurance? That's one of the first questions I ask. Is there follow the money. Where's the money? What money? Or I don't know. Or maybe it's a contentious divorce, you know? I'm not saying that that's easy, but you know what? You get over it. You get over it. You learn how to, just like you learn how to co inhabit, you learn how to co-parent just as much, you know? I mean, it's not about you, it's not about him, or vice versa. It's about, if you have kids, it's about the kids. And I've lost sight of that many times, you know? Um, Again, it's a product of me being, you know, getting married so young and just going into those type of things that I thought I was ready for. But just, you know, it just because you want it and you do it and you go through the motions and you do the things doesn't mean that's it for you, you know? Again, you don't know who you are. I didn't. It is what it is. Money is a quick fix. I know it. That's what, yeah, that's what people think. And I mean, it's nice. Don't get me wrong. Money is nice. It is nice, but not all of us, you know, have to have it. I'm telling you, you know, just all these preppers, the whole prepper, as much as some of them go to the extremes with it. I get it. It's good to be prepared. But then I look at where I live, where, you know, I'm from Southwest Louisiana. And people are like, well, why don't you move? Because there's hurricanes. And I'm like, that's ignorant. You can't, whatever. There's no safe place. And so I'm like, I was built for this shit. Okay. Our grandparents, they lived with no electricity, right? Okay. They made it. They lived without cell phones and technology. It happened. They had a lot of babies. We had an ice storm in 1997. And then 9 months later, there was a baby boom. Straight up. Now, not so much with the hurricanes because it's hot and there's no electricity. Yeah, we have to run from them. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why they're doing the appeal thing. I mean, I don't know why they're waiting. Jason was like, well, they're just trying to save money. That was his knee-jerk reaction was. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, because the way it's worded in her last filing or whatever, I want to say, yeah, when the Katie Hobbs, I think that's it. Governor, I don't know, governor of Arizona, the governor, whenever she signed the extradition orders, you know, in those, it sounded like they were going to do like Lori's their kid. And it's like custody exchange or something. And, you know, we'll be liable for her, for the gas money, you know, and transportation, getting her here and there, you know. So, I mean, I guess that's it. Katie Hobbs. All right. Yay. That was good. One time. Yeah. I don't know. And I mean, so my mom and Larry, they owned a transportation company and I worked there too. At one point for a minute, as a logistics specialist, right? And so you think about time, money, how much, you know, you don't want to spend all the overhead and stuff. So you try to do things in a geographical, sensical way that it, you know, does. I don't have the words again. It's like somebody comes and takes the word bank out of my head and just empties it. Yeah, you want to frugal. There's nothing wrong with being frugal. I don't care if you're a multimillionaire. Being frugal is not bad. Or if you're poor and you just have to be. It's called humbleness. Being humble, right? So, it's really not Lori's story. Lori's story didn't go over so well for her when she finally spoke. I'd say no. It did not. I agree with you, Tall Flatlander. Big time. But that's good. The good now there's always positives and negatives. And so Lori hates the cold. She cannot stand it. Even in Chad Daybell's loin fire, James and Elena, he was like, I had to, thank God she had her 16 layers of clothes, you know? And I was like, and that was in Arizona, right? Or, yeah, I don't know. It was hot and heavy though for her. Okay. We're winners already because none of us married Chad Daybell. Okay. Right out the gate. Winning. Whew. Can you imagine? Oh, having to live with that thought as Lori. I can't imagine going through like being her in her mind in her jail cell, just being like, I don't know. Maybe she's like, it's worth it. It was worth every minute of it. Maybe she's like that. I don't see how, because she didn't have it bad at all. She had it way too good. She needed a damn job and not at the damn temple. Okay. Anyways. All right. Enough of the blibber blab. Okay. I guess this layout or this layout. Let's see. Present. I'm going to go to Doomsday Facebook group. Stephanie May shared these. Make sure. Okay. Yeah. Y'all can see. All right. So this was John Pryor. It was filed 11/9/23. Today's 11/12. For anybody that didn't know. Motion to strike the death penalty as arbitrary, capricious, and disproportionate in light of striking death in co-defendant's case. One thing, though, that I do not hear, and I did not hear in Lori's, and I'm not hearing in Chad's either, because they're one and the same, is their innocence. Nobody's like, my client is innocent. There's none of those theatrics. It's just like, hey, while we're here, we already know, we pretty much know they're gonna, be, found guilty. And so it's like they just do the willing and dealing. Well, how about that DNA, John Pryor? All that was a tactic, he did anything and everything to separate the trials and whatever. But I mean, we're not dumb. All right. So State of Idaho versus Chad Daybell. State of Idaho. Okay. All right. Comes now the defendant Chad Daybell and through undersigned counsel. Here we go. I need a ruler. Okay. Submits this motion to strike the death penalty as arbitrary, capricious, and disproportionate in light of striking death in co-defendant's case, pursuant to the 6th, 8th, and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution, Idaho, blah, 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 as well as the legal authorities cited below. Mr. Daybell respectfully requests that the court strike the death penalty as a sentencing option to avoid a situation. I'm sure he does. He is pumping the brakes. Where the severity of punishment turns on a co-defendant's decision whether or not to waive speedy trial rights, as opposed to their relative levels of culpability in violation of fundamental constitutional rights and judicial fairness. Okay. Whatever. Factual and procedural background. The state of Idaho has charged Chad Daybell. Well, they've sentenced her, so they need to change the wording. And Lori Vallow as co-defendants in connection with the deaths of Tylee Ryan, J.J. Vallow, and Tamara Douglas Daybell on August 5th, 2021, and May 2nd, 2022. The state filed its notice of intent to seek death penalty against Mr. Daybell and Mrs. Daybell, Vallow, sorry. Respectively. On August 19th, 2021, Mr. Daybell waived his right to a speedy trial. Sound like they needed to do more meeting of the minds, right? They already did it all the way through. They might have wanted to have plan B, when you get caught. Not go to an island in the United States. I'm just saying. Stupid. Okay. So he's stupid for doing that. Okay. Fault him. All right. On March 3rd, 2023, the court severed Mr. Daybell and Ms. Vallow's trials because you bitched the whole time. Okay. John Pryor, you got what you wanted. Never enough. On March 21st, 2023, the court struck the state's May 2nd, 2022 notice of intent to seek the death penalty against Ms. Vallow from the bench. The court stated that striking death was quote, an appropriate discovery sanction, unquote, and was necessary to ensure that the constitutional rights of Ms. Vallow were protected. Correct. Also, didn't help that okay, and I don't speak legalese. I'm not, y'all know, I'm not a professional. Don't just here, entertainment and real life purposes only. I don't know how to explain that. I'm sorry. Shit. So it had something to do also with the state being sanctioned. Okay. I was like, that does not make sense. And so I'm going back over there so I can see what y'all are saying. So, right. Remember when they were like, shame on you, state. You shouldn't have messed up for not turning over the 5,000 whatever from the FBI, and her little investigator couldn't get it all done. And I don't know the words, but something like that. And they were like, and so we're going to remove the death penalty to punish you. Does that make any sense? Am I off, or isn't that the same? Isn't that what happened? Pretty much. And her rights were going to be violated, because the speedy trial thing. I mean, it just, I don't know. I need y'all. Oh, so it wasn't that time. I could have swore it was, because as soon as I heard this, I was like, well, wait, I've been bitching about it for a long time. Ever since they did that, the state messed up. What was that then? I'm waiting on y'all to answer. What was that whenever the state did what they did, didn't turn over 5,000 whatevers? Papers. I don't know if it was pages or gigabyte. I don't know the measurement. Oh, thank you, Bewitched. DNA needed testing. I couldn't blindfold. Okay, I'm gonna. Oh, discovery. All right, let me go look that up real quick. I'm gonna go and because yeah. So Lori Mello. It was a pre-trial. I just don't know when it was. It was before her trial. I'll put prosecution sanctioned removing death penalty off the. Ooh. Okay, hello. Okay, let's see. No, that's not the right one. Well, it might be. Let's see what this is. Let me see when this is first before I go sharing my screen. Yeah, April 4th, 2023. Let me just. Okay, so 2 weeks ago from April 4th. Okay, we're getting there. Let's see. I want something longer than, and not just an afterthought. Oh, goodness. La, 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 la. Okay, here we go. I think. Pre-trial. It was February 23rd, 2023. I remember the Okay, that's not it either. I'm really curious, and I didn't look this up before I came on. I thought it'd be easier than this. I remember back in the day, whenever you typed in whatever, Lori or Chad, and hardly nothing would come up. And now it's like, wow. Chad Daybell. Okay, yeah, he did. All right, March 21st, 2023. Well, yeah, let's try this one. It's an article. No. Okay, it says January 20th, 2023, the debate over whether Lori Daybell should face the death penalty if convicted of the charges against her was previewed and motions filed. Okay. Give me a video. I mean, I have it in my video library. I just don't know where. Let's look at this one. All right. Let me share this tab. March 21st, 2023. The death penalty is no longer an option in the trial for Lori Daybell. This is East Idaho News. Okay. Lori was shackled as she entered the courtroom. That day she tripped, I think. Bitches be tripping. I'm sorry, I had to say it. All right. At the Fremont County Courthouse in St. Anthony Tuesday morning, she was wearing a black jacket and black pants with her hair down. Her husband, Chad Daybell, did not attend the hearing because she stinks, as their cases were separated last month. Okay. Lori, okay, I just saw sanction. Okay. Lori and Chad are charged with multiple counts of first degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder for the deaths of 7-year-old Joshua J.J. Vallow and 16-year-old Tylee Ryan, 2 of Lori's children, along with Chad's previous wife, Tammy Daybell. During Tuesday's hearing, District Judge Stephen Boyce made a ruling on a motion to dismiss the death penalty for Lolo. The bulk of the hearing was focused on this decision. Boyce granted the motion to remove it from the case to, quote, ensure the rights of the defendant to a fair trial are protected. And it also says, quote, the court does not impose this sanction to penalize the state, but to ensure that the constitutional right of the defendant is protected, to allow for her reasonable defense to prepare for this trial. They had so much time. Okay. Boyce said. Anyways, since Chad and Lori's cases are now separate, the decision to remove the death penalty applies only to Lori's case. So this, for anybody who's just getting here, this is Lori. This has, we're looking back on the ruling for why they removed it, death penalty for Lori. Okay. The court... Okay. The death penalty decision is heavily tied to other motions from the defense to compel prosecutors to turn over all written and recorded statements made by Chad while in custody, and a motion to exclude certain evidence from the trial. In a hearing last Wednesday, Lori's attorney, John Thomas, said he'd received about 3,000 phone calls and recordings of 5 in custody visits involving Chad. Wouldn't that be interesting to listen and see and hear? Thomas did not specify who Chad was speaking or visiting with, or when the calls and visits were made. All right. And so it goes on to say, noting how quickly the trial is approaching, as it was for years, right? Thomas is concerned about the ability to sift through it all. The court, this is a quote, the court finds it's not necessary to compel any further discovery, unquote. Boyce said, noting that prosecutors have complied with previous requests from the defense to provide all necessary evidence. Last week, Lori's attorneys asked Boyce to exclude evidence prosecutors disclosed to them on February 27th at 4:07 p.m. Boyce issued an order on December 27 stating all evidence must be submitted prior. Oh, yeah, I remember this. It was just right at the deadline, like moments, okay? Stating that all evidence must be submitted, quote, prior to, unquote, February 27th. Boyce noted that procedurally, quote, disclosures were late and deadlines were missed. I mean, barely. But he repeatedly said there was no misconduct on behalf of the prosecutors. I object. He will issue a written ruling Wednesday on the motion to exclude certain evidence from the trial. There were other factors Boyce considered in his ruling on the death penalty. At one point, he noted Lori's desire for the case to proceed to trial and said that the amount of evidence coming forward puts her at risk. He agrees with the defense that there isn't enough time to examine, quote, the deluge of discovery, unquote, in the next 2 weeks. Well, I mean, what the hell are they doing? Anyways, I would caution the defendant by insisting on going forward with the trial now, knowing there's additional evidence they are not prepared to address is a risk, said Boyce. The decision to continue forward without a continuance is a decision only the defendant, with the competent advice of her counsel, can make. Lori has never wavered, just like her brother Alex, right? Sorry, that's a triggering word. From her decision, Boyce said, so the trial will happen. And it did. Regarding Boyce's decision to remove the death penalty, Madison County Prosecuting Attorney Rob Wood and Fremont County Prosecuting Attorney Lindsay Blake issued the following statement. While we are disappointed and respectfully disagree with today's decision, we will continue to vigorously pursue justice for Tylee and JJ. Lori had a smile on her face when she walked out of the courthouse. Watch it in the video above. Lori is scheduled to be transported to the Ada County. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Get your sage out, Anyways. So, okay, that's just a little refresher, right? And here's the hooker.
Idaho Falls
After this
has one simple mission.
advertisement.
Create a world
Right here after this advertisement. Right. High five. Oh, good. I'm glad I missed the sound of that thing. Just trip. You hear them. Quack, 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 quack. Some buzzards. Oh my God, that thing scares me every time. Anyway, so thank y'all for doing that with me. Right. Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, it's good to refresh myself on that because I still don't even really know because I need help with that. I don't understand legalese at all. I've always had a problem with comprehension. So there's that. I have to read things a couple times, All right. So I'm going to go back here. Okay. So, as such, the court, where was that? As such, the court has permitted the continued pursuit of only one code. Okay, I already read that. All right. Argument. The fundamental respect for humanity underlying the Eighth Amendment's prohibition against cruel and unusual punishment gives rise to a special need for reliability in the determination that death is the appropriate punishment in any capital case. And that's Johnson versus Mississippi. I don't want to read all those. Additionally, the U.S. Supreme Court has held that the Eighth Amendment demands that the death penalty, as the most severe punishment, quote, must be limited to those offenders who commit a narrow category of the most serious crimes, check, and whose extreme culpability makes them the most deserving of execution, check, right? They tick in all the boxes. Okay, so and down here, it says, when the court struck the death penalty in Ms. Vallo's case, the state made clear that it's still a desire to seek her death and that its position as to her meriting, oh my God, it's down here, so it's so hard to see. Meriting the death penalty had not changed. The state requested alternative remedies. Like what? Including a continuance that would have permitted the state to continue seeking her death. The court denied this request because she had asserted her speedy trial rights. As such, the decision to strike death in Ms. Vallow's case and the decision to continue pursuing it in Mr. Daybell's case did not turn on an assertion that Ms. Vallow is less culpable than Mr. Daybell. Is he jealous? Then maybe he should have went to trial with her, right? We'd be done. Right? We'd be done. So aggravating. Dang, that's in my face. Okay. There must be a meaningful basis for distinguishing a few cases in which the death penalty is imposed from the many cases in which it is not. Okay. Let's see. While every murder is appalling, the average murderer is insufficient. Oh my, I can't read. Is insufficiently culpable to justify the most extreme sanction available to the state. Though the state has wide latitude under the 8th Amendment to seek severe non-death sentences in all other criminal cases, the 8th Amendment special constraints on the death penalty must be enforced by this court. In this case, there is a single distinguishing feature that explains why the state continues to seek the death penalty against Mr. Daybell, even after it was struck against Ms. Vallow. Mr. Daybell waived his right to a speedy trial. And in bold print here, it says, willingness to waive speedy trial rights cannot constitutionally be the deciding factor in who lives and who dies. Okay, I get it. Oh my God, my kid's TV is so loud. Okay. All right. It says, holding that in capital cases, similarly situated co-defendants should not be given arbitrarily or unreasonably disparate sentences. I hate reading out loud. When a co-defendant or co-conspirator is equally as culpable or more culpable than the defendant, disparate, I guess that's how you say, I don't know. A treatment of the co-defendant may render the defendant's punishment disproportionate. The willingness to waive speedy trial rights does not correspond to the defendant's most culpable and deserving of death, and therefore it is unconstitutionally arbitrary under whatever, Furman and Gregg, for this willingness to waive to determine which co-defendant remains eligible for the death penalty. The prosecution cannot continue to seek Mr. Daybell's execution solely because he waived. That's not why. They're doing it because he committed murder a bunch of times. Okay. That's why they're seeking it. Anyways, solely because he waived his speedy trial rights while his co-defendant did not. Well, you know, there's this personality and there's this personality. Okay. She's impulsive. He seems to be a little more measured, cautious. So they're both culpable. Okay. She grabbed a storm. What? He told her to. Okay. You can't have one without the other. It takes two to tango. That's an old saying. Anyways, the prosecution can, okay. Yes, they can. They can continue to seek your death, Mr. Daybell. All right. Anyways. Shit. It would be at odds with the reality of the criminal justice system and would establish dangerous precedent regarding how to advise clients in co-defendant cases. To suggest that Mr. Daybell should face a far more severe punishment than his co-defendant simply because he waived constitutional rights. It is unconstitutionally arbitrary and capricious to continue seeking Mr. Daybell's death. I mean, that's an opinion, I guess. Right? Everybody's entitled to one. Given that the death penalty must be reserved only for the worst of the worst, qualifies. It counts for you too, Chad. Not for me. Lori slams her hand on the counter, right? Well, it counts for you too, Chad. It takes two to tango. Um, and Lori couldn't have spent. Lori could not have had all that cash in her purse, when Nadine called up to y'all and said, "Oh, Lori, why you got all that cash?" Right? That was the best moment, I swear. And she's like, she grips that cash. And that's Chad's late wife. Late because he made her late. Because he and Lori, with their conspiring minds, made this happen. Together, it's a meeting of the minds. One furthered it, then the other one furthered it. One could not be doing anything at all. She was sitting at home going, I just feel like I need to be doing something. And he's like, no, honey, I got it. Just leave it up to the Lord. Whatever the hell that was. And their crazy crap talk, Um, but he's furthering it. And then Alex is furthering it. And then, that's how they do this. It's conspiracy. And it is all in and of the same. Jason has drilled this into my head this whole time. Like every time something would come up, I would be like, oh my God. Or everybody freaks out, right? Everybody freaks out when these filings come out. And that's usually when I'm like, oh. And anyways, and he's always reminding me, hey, it's a conspiracy, so it's okay. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I forget. I forget that part. So anyways, but just remember that it's a conspiracy. And yes, well, let me get to it first. Anyways, the pursuit of a death sentence must be based on the relative culpability of a person accused of murder and cannot be based arbitrary or capricious factors outside of a defendant's own alleged offenses and characteristics. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Holding that due process prohibits the imposition of punishment based on arbitrary distinction. The government violates a defendant's right to due process under the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution when its decision to seek the death penalty is arbitrary and, I hate this word already, capricious. All right. Striking death as a potential sentencing option after finding that the government's decision to seek the penalty was arbitrary when compared to co-defendants. Ultimately, to comport with a criminal defendant's due process rights and to avoid violating the right to be free from cruel and unusual punishment. Can we talk about that? Anyways, the death penalty may only be sought, quote, in a way that can rationally distinguish between those individuals for whom death is an appropriate sanction and those for whom it is not. You know what I just realized? Chad is exalting himself here too, just like he did in everything else. I'm exalted. I'm a god. It's for everybody else. It's for the worst of the worst. I'm not the worst of the worst. There were no murders here, right? Remember when Lori said that? There were no murders. People accidentally, whatever the hell all her spiel was. I pretty much try to forget it, right? Oh my God. And so, yeah, that's what I'm getting between the lines or whatever. Yeah. It should be rationally distinguished between those individuals for whom death is an appropriate sanction and not for Chad Daybell. Okay, he is not. All right. As the Supreme Court has made clear, when decisions to seek or impose a death sentence rest on arbitrary and capricious factors, i.e., those that do not relate to the offender's alleged crimes or relative culpability, it does not matter whether the factors intentionally impacted the decisions. Impermissible considerations violate a defendant's rights regardless of intention. We've got lots of intent. Okay. The legitimacy of our entire system of capital punishment. It really does suck though. I've read a lot into this and it's like, I don't know. They need to either fix the system or break this or do away with it, anyways. All right. I remember what I compared this to the other day. We were talking about excommunications, right? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not Mormon, I'm not Catholic, or I don't go. I'm just saying, in this sphere, in this realm, which is Mormonism, they are like, well, they were excommunicated and so was excommunicated. And I'm like, and what does that even mean? Right. And it turns out it doesn't mean shit to me. I don't know what it means to you. Because I mean, learning through all this, I've also learned that the Mormon Church does a lot of fake excommunications, and they've done that ever since the beginning of this religion. I mean, Joseph, they'd be like, "Hey, bruh, I know everybody's just busting your chops right now because, all these polygamous wives and stuff. So we're just going to pretend and we're just going to, put it on paper. We'll leak it out to court TV or whatever." I'm just saying back in Joseph Smith's day, they didn't have that, but, and it's just for show. It's all just for show, but that member is still in good standings, still living the principle, right? It's a lot of double speak. And anyway, so I don't expect much from these people. Okay. Mandates that where discretion is afforded, a sentencing body on a matter so grave as the determination of whether a human life should be taken or spared. Think of Tylee, think of JJ, think of Tammy right now in this moment. That's where I'm at. Okay. Because, yeah, speaking of graves, should be taken or spared, that discretion must be suitably directed and limited so as to minimize the risk of wholly arbitrary and capricious. Everybody drink. We should have a drinking game right now. Every time you hear capricious. Okay. Indeed. Okay. As Justice Stewart opined in Gregg, indeed, the death sentences examined by the court in Furman were cruel and unusual in the same way that being struck by lightning is cruel and unusual. For of all the people convicted of capital crimes, many just as reprehensible as these, the petitioners in Furman were among a capriciously selected random handful upon whom the sentence of death has in fact been imposed. The 8th and 14th Amendments cannot tolerate the infliction of a sentence of death under legal systems that permit this unique penalty to be so wantonly, I think that's how you say that, and so freakishly imposed. Can they get any more crazier with the words, right? Just as the decision of who lives and dies, which is something that Chatty Daddy here and his concubine, they decided who was gonna live and who was gonna die. Okay. It's called you getting it served back to you, brother. Just suck it up, buttercup. That's what we've had to do. Okay. I'm sorry, it also cannot turn on the rights asserted or waived by a criminal defendant during prosecution. In the U.S. versus Jackson, the Supreme Court examined and struck down the Federal Kidnapping Act, which prohibited the death penalty for defendants who acceded to a bench trial and abandoned their right to contest their guilt before a jury, but authorized death where a defendant proceeded to jury trial. The court reasoned that the goal of limiting the death penalty to cases is which a jury recommends it as which a jury recommends it is an entirely legitimate one. But that goal can be achieved without penalizing those defendants who plead not guilty and demand jury trial. In a similar way, it was a legitimate aim of this court to ensure that Ms. Vallow did not face the death penalty based on incomplete or late discovery. Bam. But that goal does not permit authorizing differential punishments. Yeah, it does. And their doctrine, remember the zombie doctrine crap that Ian came up with? And they're like, if you can imagine it, then it's real. So here we are. Anyways, between her and her co-defendant against the stated desires of the prosecution solely because she asserted her speedy trial right while her co-defendant waived it. He sounds jelly. The sole distinguishing feature between the penalty being sought in this case and Mr. Daybell's co-defendant's case is that Ms. Mr. Daybell waived his speedy trial rights. How many times are we going to say this? Not because Mr. Daybell is more culpable or somehow deemed more deserving of the death penalty. It's just because he's slow. Just kidding. Only because Mr. Daybell waived his speedy trial rights and thus permitted the state greater time to comply. So they're like, we did you a favor, state, because we were good. And Chad's not chivalrous like my Uncle Charles was. That's what it comes down to. That's what I see. It's just ladies first, women and children first. That's how that goes. That's a chivalrous guy. Chad is not chivalrous. Nowhere. I mean, I feel bad for Tammy. I feel bad for the time. I feel like she settled, because everything fell on her back. The soles on her shoes were worn out, right? What a douche, right? Okay. Only because Mr. Daybell waived his speedy trial rights and thus permitted the state greater time to comply with its discovery obligations does he continue to face death penalty while Ms. Vallow does not. Thus, the difference in sentence being sought between these co-defendants is not due to the perceived or argued for culpability in relation to the alleged offenses, but rather due to the state's discovery violations and Mr. Daybell's willingness to permit more time. He is wordy. I wonder if they know what's going on with the Tim Ballard and Thom Harrison and Visions of Glory and the shit show that has finished. It's finishing trickling out, because that really is their movement. That all was their movement, Chad and Lori's movement. We want to call it a cult or a movement. Here it is. They all should have been either addressed, punished, you know what I mean, excommunicated, whatever that means in their world. They should have been held accountable. You go and break that shit up. I know that people can't make other people do anything, right? Obviously. But nobody in this brood of people, they just kept on trucking and would get aggravated at us for bucking them. That is like, oh my God, that I was thinking about that earlier. I was just like, that's so righteous, right? It's just so disingenuous and selfish and narcissistic. They're like, oh, how dare you come at me? And I'm like, well, they're your friends, that's how I look at it. But here we are. And so the rest of that movement is what we see right now. And so I'm like, okay, is it going to come out all the way? Because it's still not all the way out. It's like a woman giving birth. We're, she's dilated to 10 right now and we're crowning. Okay. But the rest of, she's got to deliver the baby. Okay. So to speak, because that is the rest of their story. That is the rest of this movement. That is the rest of my family, the victims in this case. It's the rest of their stories. All these people hold a piece of that. And, I just have wondered, I don't know if any of you have, if John Pryor's like, we know he watches Mormon Stories podcast. Okay. Wonder if Chad's like, oh shit, I wonder. Big time. Yeah. More on that in a minute. Okay. If I ever shut up and get through this. All right. Permitting more severe punishment because a defendant waived his speedy trial rights raises additional constitutional concerns. If only for him, right? They're only constitutional. Just kidding. If Mr. Daybell had not waived his speedy trial rights, he would not be facing the death penalty. Wrong. That's stupid. He was not advised of this potential outcome. Oh, whatever. Oh my God. How soon do they have to say they're going to impose the death penalty? Just asking. of this potential outcome at the time of his waiver, and this raises many issues, both the Sixth Amendment to the United States Constitution and Article 1 and 13 of the Idaho Constitution guarantee to criminal defendants the right to a speedy trial. The speedy trial guarantees. Oh my gosh. The speedy trial guarantees are designed to minimize the possibility of lengthy incarceration prior to trial, to reduce the lesser but nevertheless substantial impairment of liberty imposed on an accused while released on bail, and to shorten the disruption of life caused by arrest and the presence of unresolved criminal charges. Remember when he would be up in the courtroom during her hearings? Bold. Yeah. All right. State versus Lopez. Yada yada yada. While defendants have constitutional speedy trial rights, these constitutional rights can be waived. Right. A waiver is a voluntary relinquishment or abandonment of a known right or privilege, and courts should indulge every reasonable presumption against waiver. When Mr. Daybell waived his right to speedy trial on August 19, 2021, he did not know that it may lead to a situation where he would, solely on the basis of this asserted right, face far more severe punishment than his co-defendant. I love the wording, far more. It reminds me of Uncle Charles, my dream. Far more dark, far more sinister, right? Anyways, okay, as such, if this court does not strike death in this case to ensure reasonably equal treatment of the co-defendants under the law, then Mr. Daybell's initial waiver will be called into question. Well, right? Since he was not advised, well, you're his lawyer. Since he was not advised of this potential and significant consequence. I'm just picking. Even if an appellate court determined that his initial waiver was made knowingly, he would have made a strong argument that he was provided ineffective assistance of counsel under the Sixth Amendment in Article 1, Section 13 of the Idaho Constitution, since he was never advised of this possibility. If he'd move every now and then, he looks like he's maybe sleeping through these things. I don't know. He might want to check him. He might have his eyes, how people close their eyes, but they have eyeballs painted on their eyelids. Maybe that's what he's doing. Sorry. I gotta laugh. It's just stupid. I can't stand these people. Anyways, conclusion. Thank God. For the foregoing reasons, Mr. Daybell respectfully requests that this court strike the state's August 5th, 2021 notice of intent to seek the death penalty pursuant to the 6th, 8th, and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution, Idaho Constitution, Article 1, Section 6, 7, 8, and 13. In doing so, the court will ensure that decisions of whether defendants should live or die do not turn on whether they have waived or asserted speedy trial rights, but rather are rooted only in relative levels of culpability and personal characteristics. Seems like he's only he is like circling the wagons, as circling the drain on this. Like, this is the only thing, right? Am I wrong? I don't know. Anyways, notice is hereby given that on the 29th day of November 2023, we get to watch and see if Chad's breathing, right? November 29th, 2023 will be here at the hour of 9:00 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, or as soon thereafter as counsel may be heard. John Pryor, attorney for defendant above named, will call up for a hearing. That doesn't make sense. Will call up for a hearing for defendant's motion to strike the death penalty as arbitrary, capricious, and disproportionate before the Honorable Judge Stephen W. Boyce, judge at the Fremont County Courthouse in St. Anthony, Idaho. Okay. I don't want to read anymore. Or is that starting over? Okay, good. Yeah, I have good days and I have bad. Y'all get most of my bad days of reading. It's just not my thing. Anyways. Yeah, I know. Yeah. We, what did we used to call them? I forget. Oh my gosh. Something John Pryor. I don't remember what his what's John Pryor's nickname? I forgot. Yeah, I know. The barf bag. Get it out. Loin fire, right? I hardly go and even listen or read. I can't read it. I won't. I don't know. Just I don't feel compelled to. But I'll have to listen to other people read it. Like the other day I was listening to I went back to We Saw the Devil, the podcast. I love that podcast. And it just you go back to that time in the case when everything was just, and I say when everything was really confusing, like it's not now, but it's not near as confusing as it was. Not at all. Like I pretty much have it figured out. I just, again, trying to figure out ways to, I don't quite have it figured out, but it's there. Yeah, he's gross. Everybody in favor of Chad Daybell being gross, say aye. Or smash the like button. There you go. Right? Birds of a feather. Oh, yeah. You cannot expect to soar with the eagles if you're hanging out with the chickens. Right. Right. Prior with a prior is what it was. Prior with a prior. Oh, yeah. Ted Bundy, Mormon serial killer, born 11/11 on Julian calendar and died 1/11 on Julian. I think it's interesting that Lynn Packer, oh my gosh, that Lynn Packer was the investigative journalist, he's interviewed and looked after a lot of cases, right? Aye. Sleeps in sandals. Aye. You hit it. Bewitched, you hit it. These birds do form little groups and gangs. Boy, do they. Tribalism at its finest. Oh man. It is a good it's a relieving feeling for me. Just and I can only speak for myself, right? But ever since Jodi Hildebrandt, Ruby Franke, it sucks what happened to those children, what was happening, what could be happening to those children more, and how many more children are out there with parents just like those people. Kevin Franke, I'm not forgetting you. Anyways, who just have this backwards thinking and this toxic culture that enables this. And in a lot of instances, I'm like, are they like doing this? Is the church like purposely putting these therapists out here to lure or what are they doing? It's like, I don't know. And sometimes I'm like, this is horrible. How can you not know this is going on? Which brings me to Paul Adams. Oh my God, y'all, yesterday, I think it was yesterday when I heard or read that, I don't have it pulled up. The child ABUSE case in Arizona. MJ was the girl's name, one of the children's names. Her father, ABUSED, I don't know what else to say, harmed her and her sister. Her mother knew about it. The clergy, penitent, whatever. That's bullshit. And okay, hold on. I have so many notes. They're notes though. This is just for a couple days. It's just a couple days. Oh, yoy. And I go round and round, of course. Like right before I came on, I was listening. I ran across Julie Rose Davidic servant. And I was like, okay, it's been a while. I was like, holy crap. This goes with that 8 dispensations thing that I have that I'm like, I need y'all to help me figure this out, right? It also is in the FOIA docs, where it lists a witness. Okay, no, okay. There's a king, a priest, a prophet, a witness, and then the Davidic servant is, Oh, and we're in the 6th dispensation. All that's in the FOIA docs. Okay. All right. There's a king. This is a pattern, and it's a sacred pattern, so it's God's pattern. That's how that works. King, priest, it'll be a brother. Prophet, it'll be a Hopi Indian. That's how she said it. Witness, Davidic servants, friend. Okay. And we are in the 6th dispensation, currently in the 6th dispensation, which is the gospel of the last times, or the dispensation of the gathering of the elect. And I've seen those all over. Yeah, all day, every day. And from the 4 corners of the earth and the establishment of Zion. Also called the dispensation of, I don't know what she said, and I didn't know how to spell it. So Uzriel, I don't know. So keeping with the pattern, she brings scriptures in from John in the 1st chapter. She says she learned from the Spirit her near-death experiences and John himself. What they've been showing her as it pertains to her mission. And she says, I have learned firsthand from John that there are examples in the 1st chapters for John in the New Testament, chapter 19 to about 25, 26, and you'll learn more about that. And then she says, John the Baptist is what is considered the hidden, and I've known, Jen is who brought this to my attention. There's a hidden pope. There's a hidden Davidic servant. Anyways. Okay. I'm just telling y'all the code. We can figure it out later. But it goes with the paper that has nothing to do. It's in the FOIA docs, and I found it independently. Okay. With it. It didn't have Chad's name on it. It didn't have Lori's name on it either. John the Baptist. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. John the Baptist was what is considered the hidden portion of the presidency. Not the president. I don't know. Anyways, he came as and now these matter, as a witness. Okay. Remember I just said that there's a king, a priest, a prophet, and a witness. Okay. He came as a witness of the Savior, Jesus Christ, prior to Christ's coming and fulfilling his mission. That was during the 4th dispensation presidency. There's different presidencies. There's different dispensations. They have the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay. And then they have the South SW. They have all these directions. Okay. And I think it's the ritual. I think it's the actual ceremony. I'm telling you. Like they're a signed post. I guess. I don't know. We have, okay. All right. So I'm going to say that again. He came as a witness of the Savior, Jesus Christ, prior to Christ's coming and fulfilling his mission. That was during the 4th dispensation presidency. We have Peter, James, and John, who are a type and shadow, coming down as prophet, priest, and king. Prophet, priest, and king would be a Hopi Indian. Priest would be a brother. King, I think that's Jesus. I think. Yeah, it is. Okay. And this isn't for a scriptural basis. This is just act like it's a maze. Okay, a corn maze or something. I don't know. Never been through one. A mind maze, if you will. We have Peter, James, and John, who are a type and shadow, coming down as prophet, priest, and king. Okay. And then what most don't realize, this is her words, or that has not been recorded or noticed or qualified, is the role that there's a 4th member of presidency serving as the witness. Julie says, let's break this down a little bit. If I'm looking at the structure of the church, how there's the 3 top dudes, Nelson, then there's Oakes, then there's Eyring. The next one is the president of the quorum of the 12, I believe, which is none other than, drumroll, M. Russell Ballard. Da-da-da. Okay, so maybe he's the hidden one. I don't know. Okay, so is the role that there's a fourth member of the presidency serving as the witness. So the witness is the Davidic servant's friend. Okay, I don't get it. All right. And then it goes on to say, coming down as prophet, priest, king, then, okay, recorded or notice qualified is the role that there is a fourth member of presidency serving as the witness. Julie says, let's break that down a little bit. Okay, and then the Davidic servant will be a king. Oh, that's, okay, hold on. Do I have them backwards? I believe I do. I hate this. Welcome to my life. I don't know. I'm missing a paper. Maybe 4. Hold, please. Anyways. Yeah, I mean, I didn't finish it, but just, I don't know. Anybody who's interested, who gets what I'm talking about, I know somebody does. Kind of. Just like I noticed it with when I heard that podcast come back on. You know, I listened to it a long time ago, couple times probably, but it didn't make sense knowing what I know now, what I've found, and how that fits that pattern of that paper that I found, and it also fits that pattern that's in the FOIA docs in the Arizona FOIA docs. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Basically, okay. Oh, and I got it. That's my note. So I noticed some little nuggets. When I was reading some old Vice, I say old Vice news articles, right? And I've been reading and scouring over all of, yeah, it is headache making. I'm sorry. They are a headache. I don't know. Just trying to figure it out though. But I've been going and reading a lot of the articles instead of watching the videos from Lynn Packer. I've been starting to just like read and comb through the articles. And so Vice News, I mean, it's brought me to so many other articles from other people, you know, other media sources. And I'm like, oh my God, this says so much. It says so dang much. Right. Here we go. All right. And so grift is the word of the day, right? All right, let me find American Crime Journal. So what I did was I looked at the whiteboard. I looked at the whiteboard meeting. Make it like, oh, I'm cutting out. That's not good. Oh, there it goes. Okay. I'm sorry. My Wi-Fi thing's acting up. So I may be cutting out. I don't know. I do need a whiteboard and pens and yarn. I need lots of yarn. That's what Mom told me. She said that whenever they'd go to Rexburg and talk to the detectives or whatever, they would straight up have like all these white cloths. They would drop them because all 4 walls had that, I guess. I mean, we can only assume because you couldn't see. I was like, oh my God. I'd be like, no, they would drop cloth, you know, over it and cover them. Crime board, right? I didn't even know what that was. When KJ first, she kept talking about a crime board. I was like, what the hell is a crime board? Just never was into true crime, right? Until it touches your life. Yeah. Thank you, Donna. Thank you. Yeah. Thank y'all. Appreciate that. It would be cool to do that and see what's, oh God, right? It's all connected. It's all, I'm stuttering because I have one of those old school, like the easels. It's heavy duty though. And it's got the big old white paper, that basically like win, lose, or draw, right? And so, but it's huge, and I don't know, but I would put it behind me and straight up go to town. That's where I can do this. It's so hard for me to do this. I've tried because I'm like I'm standing in my own way. How do I make this make sense? How do I draw a mind map? Because it's like if you could just see in my brain, that's scary. But you know what I mean. I could show you, but I cannot show you or tell you. I don't know. I suck at it. I'm not that great at it. I'm trying though. I'm trying. But anyway, so I'm still not on the right one, of course. All right, the whiteboard meeting. Just gonna read this. Okay, so in August of 2019, Tim Ballard summoned 10 or so of his most trusted Operation Underground Railroad associates to a clandestine meeting. You know what? I read this. Hold on. I've read this. I haven't. Hold on. I have it recorded, is what I'm saying. Why do it again? Okay. Board meeting. Ooh. All right. The whiteboard meeting. In August of 2019, Tim Ballard summoned 10 or so of his most trusted Operation Underground Railroad associates to a clandestine meeting at home of OUR Rainmaker Paul Hutchinson, portrayed by Eduardo Verestigue in Sound of Freedom. Hutchinson was imperative to OUR's early success. Hutchinson was a multimillionaire and one of Tim Ballard's most loyal lieutenants. As we reflect back OUR's formative years with Ballard, Hutchinson speaks of Tim Ballard with glowing adoration. It's almost as if Ballard was more than a man in Hutchinson's eyes, but divine. It would be this meeting that Ballard became another man entirely to many of those in attendance. Also present was OUR's operations team leader Dave Lopez. Like Hutchinson, Lopez admired Tim Ballard, though a bit more grounded in reality. That would erode before their very eyes this August night. The meeting was so secret that each individual was required to sign a non-disclosure agreement, or an NDA, before anything would be discussed or questions answered. It was at this very meeting that Ballard laid out a secret plan to both monetize and proselytize his child sex slave rescue nonprofit, Operation Underground Railroad. On the surface, the plan was to help grow the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, better known as the LDS Church or the Mormon Church, financially and in membership. Underneath, Ballard's goal was not only to make himself millions of dollars, but to raise his profile and popularity among the Mormon elite. Not only would Ballard and his team be funneling donor money into his for-profit ventures, but to the LDS Church, they would also start converting employees, volunteers, and vulnerable children that Operation Underground Railroad is supposed to aid and rescue into the Mormon Church. Ballard believed that he would quickly gain the favor of church leadership and the Mormon elite, eventually securing a coveted lifetime appointment on the LDS Church's highest governing body, the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. So what is the whiteboard meeting? After each individual signed Ballard's non-disclosure agreement, they assembled in the meeting room in Paul Hutchinson's luxurious home. On a whiteboard, also known as a dry erase board, Tim Ballard presented the overall strategy of what he called his quote, master plan, unquote. Each member's role and how each of their respective organizations would funnel donor money into his for-profit business, Slave Stealers, LLC. Tim Ballard believed that he could funnel and launder donor money through his nonprofits into his for-profit businesses, which he called, quote, sizzle, unquote. But the nonprofits and for-profits would then pay substantial tithes to the LDS Church, despite the fact that money from those funds had already been diverted to church coffers. Lynn Packer reconstructed the diagram that Ballard drew. Let's take a look at it. As you can see here, the whiteboard shows us that there were multiple Ballard-controlled for-profit and non-profit entities. There were also several paths for donor money to flow directly from Tim Ballard's nonprofit entity into his main for-profit company, Slave Stealers, LLC. How OUR would bring more converts into the Mormon faith, deep involvement by acting president of the LDS Church, M. Russell Ballard. No relation, of course. Operation Underground Railroad's takeover of orphanage in Haiti, Foyer de Sion, in an apparent attempt to monetize adoptions. I didn't stutter. Monetizing adoptions. Moving on to Ballard Slave Stealers LLC. It's a for-profit that has 3 partners. At the top of the diagram was Ballard's for-profit business, Slave Stealers LLC, with 3 partners: Brian Norton, Thom Ballard, and Russell Ballard, who was a silent partner. Then we go to an outside nonprofit owned by Paul Hutchinson. It goes under Child Liberation Foundation. It was envisioned to donate to multiple nonprofit entities owned by Tim Ballard. Then we go to Child Liberation Foundation. The CEO for this is Brad Damon.
I don't know how to say their name.
Vanessa, she's executive. Kahia is the advisor. Then we go to the Ballard-controlled nonprofits. Some of these are listed as Sizzle. We have Operation Underground Railroad. It's a Sizzle. The Nazarene Fund, Sizzle. Children Need Families, owned by Tim's blushing bride, Catherine Ballard. It's also labeled as a Sizzle. Liberty and Light Equity Trust. Then we go to Mercury One, which is owned by Glenn Beck. Then we move down to Orphanage in Haiti. So it appears that Ballard's use of the word sizzle was taken to mean that the nonprofits would attract donors by way of dynamic humanitarian missions, such as rescuing child sex slaves. The money would then funnel into Ballard's own company, http://www.timothyballard.com. It would make more money with Ballard's media engagements, starting with The Sound of Freedom, speaking fees, and upcoming books. The Sound of Freedom, if you recall, just came out earlier this year, July of 2023. Speaking engagements from $50 to $100,000.
Oh my God, right?
Upcoming books, 3 to 5 new books coming out. So this was just recently, if you think about it. Some of these funds would end up going to Slave Stealers LLC.
For profit.
Ballard's millions. Tim Ballard's nonprofit Operation Underground Railroad has millions of dollars in liquid assets. Legitimate nonprofit entities typically have 2 to 3 years of annual expenses in reserve. OUR, on average, had 10 to 20 years of operating expenses in reserve. It's just one of the many reasons why Charity Watch downgraded their rating to a question mark and issued multiple cautions about the nonprofit. In reality, Ballard could not simply write checks to himself without risking his tax-exempt status. And according to OUR's Form 990 in 2018, Ballard's salary at OUR was over $300,000. In 2021, it was over $500,000. What was Ballard's solution? According to 2 OUR executives that were in attendance, it was to surround Operation Underground Railroad with other nonprofits
Shell
and
companies.
for-profits, creating a complex labyrinth of entities where the money would eventually flow into his personal bank account. Ta-da! So Ballard pointed out an added bonus. He told those that were in attendance at the clandestine that the, quote, same sizzle, excitement, and publicity that generates profits could bring masses of people into the Mormon Church, unquote. It was his, quote, capitalism begets church converts, unquote, plan. Can you believe that? Actually, that's just a rhetorical question. Ballard was perpetuating that this was some divine plan, as if God wanted millions of dollars of donor money to flow through a labyrinth of entities and directly into Ballard's pockets.
And done. Right. Okay. And so what that brought me to was Charity Watch, which is something I never looked at. Okay. This told me a lot too. This Charity Watch right here.
Okay, Charity Watch. This is back August 4th, 2021. Okay. It says the American Institute of Philanthropy, doing business as Charity Watch, is a nationally acclaimed charity rater and nonprofit watchdog organization founded in 92 that recently downgraded Operation Underground Railroad to now just a question mark rating. Okay. Citing the multiple criminal investigations, this is where I found a lot of good links. Okay. The fantastic investigative series by Anna Merlin and Tim Marchman of Vice News, and articles, videos by Lynn Packer and Damian Moore. Charity Watch not only downgraded OUR's rating to a question mark, but provides a damning analysis. As I learned of this downgrade, I have been consulting a former FBI special agent who asked not to be named for an upcoming video podcast, undecided on the format, an Operation Underground Railroad, and the subject of human trafficking overall. He said the analysis is a, quote, dire warning not only to anyone looking to donate to the organization, but to Tim Ballard and officers of OUR. Indictments are probably going to be handed down, unquote. In our upcoming video, see, I don't know when this was, after August of 2021, we explore what likely is going on behind the scenes in the criminal investigation into OUR, as why Tim Ballard should be concerned. Quote, criminal investigations into 501c3s are rare, extremely rare. If you do the paperwork right, a charity legally can pocket or eat up 95% or even more of donations in administrative costs, lodging, vehicles, salaries, whatever. And there's little law enforcement and prosecutors can do. This tells us the evidence has to be overwhelming. This is not a simple misunderstanding, mistakes on documents, questionable claims, or media spin. There is clear evidence, compelling evidence of intent. This might end up with a jury. So anything complicated in the tax code, laws, or confusing, questionable exchanges, sorry, prosecutors know better. Those statements by District Attorney Troy Rawlings to Vice and Fox 13 regarding the investigation by his office. I can assure you, Tim Ballard's attorneys have already prepared him for an indictment. This is criminal. Okay. This is separate. This will be separate from from the lawsuits. Okay. So doesn't it tell you so much, right? Maybe I'm just, again, slow or something. I just didn't read all these things. For the first time in his career and quite possibly his privileged life, I agree, Tim Ballard cannot discredit, intimidate, or silence not just critics, but people who dare to question his ridiculous claims. Ballard cannot gain the confidence and or influence over the media investigations and criminal investigations. The church can, though, right? They sure did pull a whole article because they said it was bias, but I'm of the opinion that it's incriminating, right? Anyways, he cannot call President M. Russell Ballard to fix this. Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes is facing his own investigations, not just pushing radical and disproven election fraud claims, but his relationship OUR and Tim Ballard. A damning analysis. Why a question mark rating? According to Charity Watch, they have concerns about this organization and or is unable to provide complete rating information due to the organization's non-disclosure of financial information. And this is where I went. I didn't read this, what I'm reading now. So please read the analyst notes section for a more detailed explanation, and it is detailed. We'll go there in a minute. Okay. Charity Watch provides a comprehensive analysis into Operation Underground Railroad, which serves as a dire warning to those wishing to ultimately, quote, invest, unquote, in Tim Ballard and his special projects rather than combating human trafficking, right? According to Charity Watch's analyst notes, Charity Watch is providing a question mark rating for Operation Underground Railroad at this time due to our concerns related to a reported investigation into the organization. According to Fox 13 News, this is where I first heard of it, of Salt Lake City in Utah. In an article published by Fox 13 Salt Lake City in October 2020. Davis County, Utah attorney Troy Rawlings confirmed that an investigation into Operation Underground Railroad is, quote, ongoing. And I mean, so I think they've ended that. But anyways, and that his office has, quote, received complaints and is in the process of reviewing those complaints. Rawlings did not specify why OUR is under investigation and would not release records concerning the inquiry to Fox News, according to the article, on the basis that doing so would, quote, interfere with that investigation. Fox 13 News also reported in the article that Rawlings, in an Instagram post, implied that a local nonprofit was conducting illegal fundraising efforts by taking credit for arrests made by the Davis County Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force. Say that 5 times fast, right? And that's not the only people that OUR stepped on their toes. Okay. Sorry, I looked away. Rawlings did not name the local nonprofit in the post. An investigation by Vice World News touched on a similar concern, according to a December 2020 article published in Vice. An investigation by Vice World News focused on OUR's operations, identified a divide between the group's actual practices and some of its claimed successes. What we, Vice, found aren't outright falsehoods, but a pattern of image burnishing and mythology building, a series of exaggerations that in aggregate, oh my God, quite misleading. Charity Watch contacted Davis County Attorney Troy Rawlings by email and voicemail in June of 2021, asking him to confirm the existence of an investigation into OUR by his office and asking if he was able to provide any further comment. As of July 15, 2021, Rawlings did not respond to our inquiries. Smart. In June of 2021, Charity Watch also contacted OUR via email to request copies of OUR's fiscal 2020 audited financial statements and Form 990 tax filing, and to ask for comment on the reported criminal investigation into its activities. As of July 15, 2021, we have not received a response from OUR in the event. I'm sorry, that's a period. In the event one or both parties responds to our inquiries in the future, or if OUR provides its updated financial documents to us, we may update our rating of Operation Underground Railroad at that time. And I'm just letting you know it's still not updated. So, according to the Operation Underground Railroad 2019 tax filings, the existence of a family or business relationship among officers, this is big, directors, trustees, or key employees, IRS Form 990, Part 6, Section A, Line 2, OUR reports, quote, multiple officers and directors have a family relationship. Okay. That's not good. Todd Reynolds, director, is Tim Ballard's brother-in-law. Julianne Blake, director, is Tim Ballard's sister-in-law. That's right. That's Catherine's sister. Okay. Tevya Ware, CFO, is Tim Ballard's sister-in-law. Mark Reynolds, secretary, is Todd Reynolds' brother. Todd Reynolds, Mark Reynolds, and Julianne Blake are reported as 3 of OUR's 5 board members in 2019. Okay. Also, according to the Operation Underground Railroad 2019 tax filing, OUR reports for business transactions involving interested persons. I'm not going to read all that. A transaction in the amount of $18,415 involving Kelly Wilson / Allred Jackson, board member, and described as, quote, tax return preparation, unquote. Number 2, a transaction in the amount of $13,340 involving Austin Ware, quote, child of officer, unquote, and described as, quote, employee. OUR reports Kelly Wilson as president of the board. Tevya Ware is reported as the chief financial officer. Okay. According to OUR 2019 tax filing, reports receiving contributions of non-cash items on which it placed a value of $681,455 American dollars. No, and donated services and use of facilities on which it placed the value of $167,138. Okay, Schedule M and Schedule D. Okay, Charity Watch generally excludes the value of in-kind, non-cash donations of goods and services from its calculations of program percent and cost to raise $100. More information on how grades are calculated and the treatment of in-kind donations can be found on the OUR. On the OUR process page. I don't never know if they're talking about the Underground Railroad or. According to the Operation Underground Railroad combined audit of December 31st, 2019, note 2 regarding subsequent events. On January 30th, 2020, the World Health Organization announced a global health emergency because of a new strain of the Rona, right? Originating in Wuhan, China, the COVID-19 outbreak and the risk to the international community as the virus spreads globally beyond its point of origin. In March of 2020, the WHO classified the COVID, outbreak as a pandemic based on the rapid increase in exposure globally. The full impact of the outbreak continues to evolve as the date of this report, April 15, 2020. I gotta breathe. As such, it is uncertain as to the full magnitude that the pandemic will have on the company's financial condition. I can't say that word, liquidity, and future results of operations. Management is actively monitoring the global situation on its financial condition, liquidity, operations, suppliers, industry, and workforce. Given the daily evolution of the COVID and the global responses to curb its spread, the company is not able to estimate the effects of of the fiscal year 2020. Okay. Cheese and rice. All right. Charity Watch also stated concerns over OUR having more than, quote, 3 years of its operating expenses in reserve. Remember up there it said that usually most nonprofits have like 2 to 3 years, and these people have like 10 to 20 years in reserve. Okay. That's what they're reporting to. Can you imagine? That's not what's been funneled, maybe. Anyways, which American Crime Journal uncovered from OUR's annual tax filings. Majority of their donors' funds, nearly 2/3, are placed in savings accounts. It sounds like the damn church. Or invested in stocks and bonds. According to Charity Watch, their mission is, quote, a nonprofit charity watchdog and information service is to maximize the effectiveness of every dollar contributed to charity by providing donors with the information they need to make more informed giving decisions, which is what we ask of the church, right? We just want informed consent, right? We just want people to know and there to be transparency so that you know what you are tithing for, that your tithing in the church is going to pay for Kurt McConkie to, stop MJ and her sister from suing the church for their complete dropping the ball and allowing this to happen, because the church fights against clergy penitence, whatever, mandatory reporting of the abuse that goes on with their children. Okay. It seems like, and they celebrated it. Okay. There's something wrong with this picture and it's bad. So I want to start treating it like the organization that it is. It's a damn business. It is not a church. And until it shows me that, and it ain't showing me that. So, but it's the same thing. Operation Underground Railroad is doing the same thing. Basically, I see it like the church with the SEC not too long ago didn't want to show its members when they got busted. The whistleblower, came forward, and come to find out the church had created I think 13 shell companies, and they were just dumping it into these fake companies, shell organizations. And so they may be able to bamboozle those who just aren't ready to see, but they damn sure didn't bamboozle me. My eyes are open. And I know a lot of you are too. And it's sad because we know that it's hurting a lot of people. And whether we know them or not, whether they're our family or not, I love people. I love mankind, right? And I don't like what this church has done, in my opinion, to my family. I don't like at all what I've learned as I've, began my research into this organization. I didn't set out with any, I just wanted to know where Chad and Lori's doctrine, and I'm air quoting back here, differed from the church. What made it, that was just my natural curiosity, was just to, first off, I didn't even realize what a cult was. And I'm still on the fence about that. But I mean, it's a harmful organization, and it's a very powerful and rich one. And it can just remove news articles because it thinks it's bias against itself. Okay. And so they just, the news media company just complied and just took it down. Okay. Just like that speech we saw, I showed you guys, that was on Mormon's discussions with Bill Reel and Radio Free Mormon. And you put the two talks side by side. The church went back and changed the speech. That is called gaslighting. Okay. And I don't think anybody should have the right. We have a right to free speech, right? It's the First Amendment right. And they do. They practice all their rights. They practice that not having the tax exempt status. Okay. They're bleeding the beast. That's what they set out to do anyways. It's a I almost said prostitution's hanging by a thread, but constitution's hanging by a thread. That's that dog whistle. Oh my God, I said prostitution. Hey, Lord. All right, back on track. Okay. Their goal is simple. Did I already say all this? Okay. From the charity website, to research and evaluate the efficiency, accountability, and governance of nonprofit organizations, to educate the public about the importance of wise giving, to inform the public of wasteful or unethical practices of nonprofits, and provide recognition to highly effective and ethical charities, to advise Charity Watch members and conduct special investigations and evaluations of nonprofits, to expand and redefine our programs periodically to meet the continuing challenge of keeping the contributor informed, which is something the church thinks it's above. It thinks it is exempt. It's exalted. It's above criticism. It doesn't like to be criticized because its image is all that matters. The American Institute of Philanthropy, DBA, Charity Watch. Charity Watch was found. I already said all this. Okay. Oh wait, called for testimony on nonprofit sector's response to 9/11 victims in 2001 for commentary. Okay, I don't want to read all that. The board of directors include. Okay, I remember. Okay, I'm gonna go to the actual website. I know I'm just rolling with it. I haven't even checked on y'all. I hope you're doing fine. Looking for the window I have open. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Share this tab instead. Okay. Let me reduce the size of that there. All right. All right. Analyst notes. Charity. Wait. So yeah, this is the top of the page. This is Operation. This is the watchdog, the Charity Watch watchdog for nonprofit organizations such as Timothy Ballard or Ballard. Operation Underground Railroad, October of 2023. Report issued. Charity Watch grade. And so you click that and it says the Charity Watch grade. Charity Watch analysts perform in-depth evaluations of complex charity financial reporting, including audited financial statements, tax forms, annual reporting, state filings, and other documents. Once our analysis of a charity is complete and any necessary adjustments are made, we perform two-end calculations for program percent and cost to raise $100. We average the two results on our scale and then assign the charity a final letter grade efficiency rating range from A+ to F. Okay. Oh crap.
I don't want to have to open up another window. Here I go. Why a question mark rating? Charity Watch currently has concerns about this organization and or is unable to provide complete rating information due to the organization's non-disclosure, non-transparency, just like its daddy, okay, its church, of financial information. Please see analyst note section for a more detailed explanation. Oh, my goodness. I think that's just where I was. All right. All right. Charity Watch is assigning a question mark rating to Operation Underground Railroad at this time due to our concerns related to the independence of the charity's board of directors and the circumstances surrounding the departure of its founder and CEO, Tim Ballard, from the organization in 2023. OUR reports that as of the end of 2022, the number of voting members of its governing body was 7, of whom only 3 were considered independent. Okay? And it's just 3 outsiders. IRS Form 990, Part 6, lines of blah, blah, blah. When less than 50% of a charity's board of directors is independent, this raises a concern that the board may lack sufficient independence to make decisions that prioritize the best interest of the charity over the interest of its individual board members. In addition, according to a July 18, 2023 article published by Vice, an anonymous letter sent to employees of and donors to the anti-trafficking group Operation Underground Railroad asserts that founder Tim Ballard left the organization recently after an internal investigation into claims made against him by multiple employees, something which OUR does not dispute. That's the new people, or, the whatever. Quote, Tim Ballard's exit from OUR earlier this year, followed by an investigation into claims of misconduct involving 7 women, according to sources with direct knowledge of the organization, unquote. Vice reported in a later article published on September 18, 2023, OUR is dedicated to combating SA and does not tolerate SH or discrimination by anyone in its organization. Sounds like a damn blanketed church statement. We like our kids. We love our kids. We protect our kids. Meanwhile, they're feeding them to the damn slaughter. Anyways, the charity told Vice, according to the article. As previously reported by Charity Watch in an article published by Fox 13 Salt Lake City in October of 2020, Davis County, Utah Attorney Troy Rawlings confirmed that an investigation into OUR is ongoing. That's October 2020. And that his office has, quote, received complaints and is, quote, in the process of reviewing those complaints. Rawlings did not specify why OUR is under investigation and would not release records concerning the inquiry to Fox News, according to the article, on the basis that doing so would interfere with that investigation. That's in quotes. Fox 13 News also reported in the article that Rawlings, in an Instagram post, which I have in my intro, it's about the God, just because they say they're of God doesn't mean they are. Implied that a local nonprofit was conducting illegal fundraising efforts by taking credit for arrests made by the Davis County Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Rawlings did not name the local nonprofit in a post. An investigation by Vice World News touched on similar concern. According to a December 2020 article published in Vice, an investigation by Vice World News focused on OUR's identity. Okay, I read this in the other thing. So it's just misleading. So I'm not going to read that again. Charity Watch contacted Davis County Attorney Troy Rawlings by email and voicemail in 2021 asking him to confirm. I think I read this too. Okay, and it's saying Charity Watch also contacted OUR via email to request copies of 2020 and 990 filings on the reported criminal investigation. Oh, I'm sorry. And to ask for a comment on the reported criminal investigation into its activities. OUR did not respond to us at that time, but its CFO did later provide Charity Watch with a copy of its fiscal 2020
audited financial statements and IRS Form 990 in September of 2021 and March of 2022, respectively. 2022 and 2023 Charity Watch correspondence with Operation Underground Railroad. This is between OUR and Charity Watch. Charity Watch reached out via email on June 29, 2021 to Tevya Ware, who at the time was OUR's VP of Finance. In this email, we included the following questions. They asked, is OUR currently under investigation by the Davis County Attorney or any other regulatory body? Number 2, if so, what is the nature of the investigation? Number 3, can you respond to the specific allegations outlined in the cited article? OUR did not respond to Charity Watch's email at that time. OUR later submitted a request to Charity Watch for an update of its charity rating. On September 8, 2021, we responded to this request with a copy of the same questions cited above. We received no response. Finally, Charity Watch sent a detailed letter via email and U.S. mail to OUR founder and president Tim Ballard on March 30, 2020, which included the questions cited above, as well as additional questions that arose upon our analysis of OUR's fiscal 2020 audited financial statements. We received no response to our letter at that time. On May 18, 2023, Charity Watch received a request from OUR's Chief of Staff for an update of its charity rating. So they got it. So OUR requested it, I guess. Okay. On May 24, 2023, Charity Watch responded by including copies of our previous correspondence with the organization and communicated that OUR had never responded to our questions. OUR later provided responses to these questions on June 12, 2023. Let me breathe. Some of the questions and responses including the following. In response to Charity Watch's questions about the status of the investigation being conducted by the Davis County Attorney's Office, OUR stated, quote, OUR was previously under investigation by the Davis County Attorney's Office, DCAO. Why didn't they say that earlier? However, as of March 28, 2023, the investigation has been closed, and the Davis County Attorney's Office declined to pursue charges. OUR provided to Charity Watch a copy of the DCAO declination statement substantiating this information. In OUR's fiscal 2020 audited financial statements, Note 9, Legal Matters, OUR cited the existence of various legal actions that included, quote, 4 open cases, unquote. Charity Watch asked OUR to describe the nature of the allegations, the status of any open cases, and the settlement terms for any settled cases. OUR responded that it is unable to disclose the terms of any settlements because I'm a god. Reached on the 2 closed cases. So that's unable to disclose the terms of any settlements reached on the 2 closed cases. With respect to the open cases, OUR communicated the following to Charity Watch. During the 2020 fiscal year, the Davis County DCAO opened a case investigating OUR. As discussed above and as outlined in the declination letter, the investigation is now closed and everything's great. And the Davis County Attorney's Office is no longer pursuing charges against OUR. This is where Sean Reyes comes in, okay? Why do you think they're not? That's what I don't know. He's definitely got a hand in this, allegedly. Anyways, Charity Watch asked OUR for additional information about an impairment loss, reported in OUR's fiscal 2020 audited financial statements, Note 7 and 2020, IRS Form 990, Part 9, line 24D. We asked OUR to describe the nature of this impairment and how OUR determined that impairment loss should be recognized in this amount. OUR responded that the impairment loss is related to the year-end
the year-end valuation for certain intangible assets, including an in-kind donation of a copyright for a movie. Sound of Freedom, maybe? OUR discussed with the auditors the nature of these assets and how to value them. It was determined that because of the existence of a qualifying event impacting recoverability, it was appropriate to report an impairment loss. As a result, OUR calculated the impairment loss alongside its auditors to come up with a total impairment amount of $365,039 related to copyright. According to OUR's audited financial statements for fiscal year ending 12/31/2022, Note 7 Intangibles, quote, on December 17, 2019, the organization received an in-kind donation of a copyright for the movie Operation Toussaint. There you go. Which was determined to have a fair market value of $429,095 and which is reported as an intangible asset that is being amortized over its estimated useful life of 20 years. Okay. What about the Jesus movie? That Gordon Bowen's in, huh? And David Hamlin. Snuff film is what they call them. I think that's what that is. But anyways, what do I know? All right. According to OUR's audited financial statements for its fiscal year ending 12/31/2022, Note 7 Intangibles, quote, during 2021, the organization acquired a copyright of the, quote, Dirty Business docuseries. Can you imagine what the hell is on that? Dirty Business docuseries for $2 million and additional film footage for $57,892, which was determined to be the fair value. The copyright and footage are reported as intangible assets and will be, I hope I'm saying it right, amortized on a straight line basis over the estimated useful life of 5 years. During 2022, the organization continued filming more footage and capitalized an additional $1.3 million. They expect to begin using the footage in 2023. This would be the Sound of I was about to say the Sound of Music. This would be the Sound of Freedom, which is Angel Studios, right? Okay. According to OUR's audited financial statements for its fiscal year ending 12/31/2022, Note 7 Intangibles, during 2022, the organization acquired a music video and animations for $115,748, which was determined to be the fair market value. They expect to begin using the music video and animations in 2023. According to the Operation Underground Railroad 2019, 2020, and 2022 tax filings analyzed by Charity Watch, OUR responds, quote, yes, unquote, to the following question. Did any officer, director, trustee, or key employee have a family relationship or business relationship with any other officer, director, trustee, or key employee? They said yes, right? According to Form 990, Schedule O of OUR's 2020 tax filing, quote, multiple officers and directors have a family relationship. Todd Reynolds, director, is Tim Ballard's, the founder, brother-in-law. Julianne Blake, director, is Tim Ballard's sister. Okay, he's got a sister. Right, just kidding. Tevya Ware is she's a CFO, is Tim Ballard's sister-in-law. Mark Reynolds, secretary, is Todd Reynolds' brother. Todd Reynolds, Mark Reynolds, and Julianne Blake are reported as 3 of OUR's 5 board members in 2019, and Tevya Ware is reported as an officer. Now, I just want you to know, in case I don't get to it. Oh, never mind, it's right down there. I'll tell you when I get down there. It says, shit. It's okay. Mark Reynolds, did I already say it? Okay. Mark Reynolds is reported as one of OUR's 7 board members in 2022. IRS Form 990, Part 7. OUR reports that as of the end of 2022, the number of voting members of the governing body of the organization was 7. of whom 3 were considered independent. Just 3. According to the Operation Underground Railroad 2022 tax filing, OUR reports for business transactions involving interested persons, IRS form, yada, yada, yada. 1. A transaction in the amount of $278,000, $278,684. I'm sorry, I'm not used to counting up that high. Involving Mark Blake, director, and described as legal services. Okay. A transaction in the amount of $230,534 involving Craig Anderson. He's listed in the lawsuit. Okay. Didn't know that. I think he's on a mission. Director and described as office cons. Well, right. I think we can agree. Is that construction or cons? Number 3, a transaction in the amount of $118,283 involving Catherine Ballard, spouse of founder, as described as payroll. Now, just again, this is where I was going to cut in. Just know that Catherine Ballard has her own nonprofit, Children Need Families. She has that with the psychic lady, Janet Russin, and Tim Ballard is solely listed on the board. Okay, just know that. Okay. A transaction in the amount of $47,918 involving Blaine Ballard. That's Tim Ballard's son that just came back from the mission, right? And went to the strip clubs, allegedly. Child of founder, yeah. And described as payroll. So Catherine and their son was on payroll. According to Operation Underground Railroad's audited financial statements for the fiscal year ended December 31, 2022, Note 12, related party transactions. I gotta breathe. All right. The organization contracted a member. I'm sure. Hope that's all they contracted. Let me take something to drink real quick. Let me drink something. Oh my God. Okay. The organization contracted a member of the board of directors to perform legal services for an amount of $230,534 and $67,820 during the years ended December 31st, 2022 and 2021, respectively. Another member of the board of directors performed construction services to improve office space in California for an amount of $490,000 and $221,793 during the years ended December 31st, 2022 and 2021, respectively. Cheese and rice. Yeah, these are articles and stuff. All right. Holy crap. I'm tired. So I looked at all these. I was like, oh my God. There is so much nuggets that I didn't see. And so kudos to those who have. Let me copy this link so I can put it in the chat and so I can share it with you. And so you can go and leisure. It's actually a workout. You can go and do your own research, right? And then you can collaborate with me so I don't have to do it all. I'm joking. Oh my gosh. So I don't know. It was just eye-opening for me. Just those 2 things. And I mean, I read so many more. And I was just like, holy cow, this is a lot. This is big. And so I was already catching on to whenever, after all this came out with Tim Ballard, the SHTF, the shit hit the fan. Okay. And okay, so everybody was nutting up, right? A lot of people are still nutting up. No, that didn't come from the church. Yes, it was. Church was like, whoosh, they had to hurry up and sever ties. They knew something, in my opinion. Yeah. Well, anyway, so, and I'm just like, well, how can they be this interwoven? Kind of like Chad and Lori and Melanie and Melanie, no, and Ian and David Warwick, all the people, all the witches that were
going in the temple and praying away everybody. How can they be so involved in something and yet just go unscathed? Same. How can the church be so involved in so many, in my opinion, I'm gonna just say it, non-Christ-like things and never be held accountable? It's bothersome to me. It's
A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
isn't that cute? Anyways, all right. That's why I was like, I have to scroll and get to that so I can show everybody a bullshit, a bullshit, a bullshit. One more time.
A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
So cute and funny and fitting. It's a bullshit. Yeah. My cousin Amanda, I didn't like my stepmom, and neither did my mama. And Amanda, she was really little at the time, and my mama had fish tanks, fish aquariums, and Amanda would say she'd call a fish a bitch, right? So we'd say Miss blah 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 is a fish, and she'd be like Miss blah 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 is a bitch. It was great, just just for that little window of time. Anyways, shame on us. Oh, a bullshit, a bullshit. All right, he is now our new mascot. Poor kid. Jason showed me that the other day. I was like, and I like the Linda listen, Linda, listen. I'm like, yeah, Linda, listen. Anyways, good. But what do y'all think, though? I mean, what do y'all think? So Lynn Packer was a guest on Mormon Discussions after all that came out, right? And you have to kind of read the tea leaves because he's a good reporter, in my opinion. He's a good journalist. He's old school. And so you just kind of have to read in between the lines a little bit because he tries not to be biased, right? But I know a lot of people accuse him of that. Whatever. But I think it's important. He's taught me quite a few things just by watching. And that's the best way for me to learn is to watch. Don't try to make me. It's the exact thing. Oh, yeah. You mean like what this is? Far more dark, far more sinister? Yeah, I think so too. That's why we are here. I know a lot of people were like, well, like as this was progressing, when OUR came on to my radar, I was like, oh my God, this must be what he was talking about in my dream, right? This is something far more dark, far more sinister. I just didn't know. I didn't know I didn't know how this works. And it's a structure. Okay. It's a whole structure that I didn't even know existed. And I'm like, what? How does this work? Where does it go? Okay, okay. And then you just try to, I've tried to figure it out. I went in from the bottom, backwards, right? I go backwards, from the ground up, and nothing was told to me. You know what I mean? Like I didn't just take anybody's word for it. I went and looked. I go and look. That's what I do. Because I'm curious. Yeah. I know. And that was wrong. It was wrong. But, and so, what do you call that? Not the pessimist, but optimist in me was like, well, it might sting now, Tim. It might sting now, but in the long run, if it's not a fake excommunication, just saying, then it'll give him a to not be codependent with the church, you know? That just came to me, like, you know, so many people defend something that is just like Lori, in my opinion. Just once they get their use out of you, and I'm looking at the entity, as the business that it's presented itself as, and it's like a narcissist. And when it's done with you, you are done. You are in outer darkness. You are of no use to them. And then the smear campaigns, the character assassination, it makes total sense to me. That's when I look at it, like when I look at the church, upper management or whatever, as a patriarchal narcissist, just it makes sense to me as to why it acts the way it does, why Chad acts the way he does, why Lori acts the way she does. Now, this doesn't mean everybody, because, I don't mean for this to sound so black and white or so one way or the other, but just in this little sense, you know, there's going to be someone who is the abuser, and then there's always somebody who is getting abused, you know, those roles may change, whatever. But so that's not everybody. That doesn't make up everybody. I don't think everybody in the church is a narcissist, but it's like they create there's something far more dark and far more sinister going on. And it's troubling. And it also I mean, I can't help it. I do feel like Chad and Lori never stood a chance because of the structure that they were born and raised up in, and toxic, and just all the yes men, and you know how everybody pretty much in Lori's path, she charmed them with her Jezebel, her Jezebel spirits. Just kidding. Just like the politicians, right, Donna? I mean, you got to think like I'm not political, but from how I see it, I'm just like us, the church leaders, the Pope, all of them, they all suck. If they're doing this stuff, if this stuff is going on under their administration or whatever, then and then I read reports like you celebrating after you let this little girl down again. I hope she comes back swinging. And it sure did sound like it whenever we listened to that Vice. That's the one time that my whole my whole live stream was yanked down. I was like, oh shit. It was my fault because I was playing too much of the Vice news. Because I just dropped a ring. Of the Vice news story. It was a AP story, and Vice did it too. And that's where I found out who Tim Kosnoff was. And Tim Kosnoff caught my attention because he's somebody who was not scared. First person I'd seen. And I mean, maybe I don't go places, but I mean, everybody I've talked to is like, oh, you don't want to go up against church. Oh, you yeah, or they just wouldn't even think that way. Like they couldn't even fathom that leaders in their church are just men, and they make mistakes and yada, yada, yada. I mean, it was hard for me to come to terms with. I'm like, oh, okay. That makes sense. Whenever I was trying to figure out how this goes and why Lori walked in the courtroom that day with her shoulders back, all confident and stuff, with a pep in her step, nose in the air. And I was like, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. She's confident. She's confident. She's too confident and cocky to be walking in that courtroom like that. So it's like, from that moment, I was like, this is a learned behavior. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not an expert in anything. Bullshitter. That's about it. But just my all my bells and whistles were going off. And I was just like, that's a learned behavior. You know, you don't just, somebody told her that. And it wasn't Chad. Somebody told them that. Think Mormon Mafia. Look it up. Okay. Oh, he's really up in there. But allegedly. It's nuts. But if you look at it in that structure, that framework or whatever, then it makes a lot of sense with the crime boss. A lot of people said that about Lori and Chad. It was like a crime boss family. And it is, but it's not the only one. It's not. That's not where the buck stops. The crazy stories, the zombie, the worm, the what is it? Oh hell, the portals, and what was the other thing? The wormhole or slugs and vibrations and malachite, and how Lori and Chad's group or whatever was in charge of the music and healing. Remember those? Well, what there's other parts, there's other departments in the company, you know, that are maybe, you know, like oh hell, I can't think of it. Oh my god. Where they hire you and stuff. I can't think of the word. Human something. Anyways, you know what I'm saying. But I mean, just different departments. There's the mail room. There's the accounts payable, receivable. Well, there's their healing and blessing. I'm sorry, healing and and music. Office spaces. Thank you. No, it's human resources. There you go. Human resources. And I don't even know who Lacoste Nasty is. Do I want to say that out loud? House of the Holiest. Oh, that reminds me of Dr. Dave. Somebody, I don't know if anybody's run across any of his videos. I have, and I was like, oh my God, this dude's wild. On his way out, you know, of Mormonism. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot from other people, no matter what phase, where they are in their religious belief, their belief period, whatever they present, whatever I'm, you know, whoever I'm watching, they're Mormon, true blue Mormons, true believing Mormons. They are a lot of the patriarchs, a lot of the elders. I have watched and listened to so many freaking of those talks. And I'm like, you know, sometimes, this thing of ours. Who is Dr. Dave? Oh, he's not Dr. Dave. His name is, shit. Rewind. Dodger Dave. But he's, well, you know, there's another guy, that I ran into. I didn't run into him, but I mean, I've talked to him. We've sent correspondence back and forth to each other. And he has a YouTube channel, and I'm like, wow, you know, but I've learned a lot just from watching. Not everything. I don't hold everything as fact, you know. I'm just like, oh, okay. This is how I do it. This is how I hustle through all this crap. Oh, they are. Did you hear that when the ice almost melts from the poles, that a gas is expected to evaporate in our air, making people zombies? Oh my God, check it out. I will. I've been ran across a video the other day about Maui or Hawaii. I suck with the names. I have too much Mormon stuff in here. But how the fires and I don't even want to talk about it, but everything is a conspiracy, pretty much. I don't know if that's on purpose or what. And you know, I think it's for it's to the advantage of the people who are taking advantage of dubbing it as a conspiracy. It's gaslighting. It is just nothing but one big gaslighting of all of us. If I explain it like this, and I know I'm gonna lose a few of you. That's okay. But I mean, I don't care either way. I care about losing, but I don't how to explain it. I don't agree and or not agree. I'm just here, just trying to figure this out. So that's where I'm at. I'm right here, sitting on the fence, going, "What?" I'm very careful, right? um, wild. I know. I like watching them. Oh, Rombo, what you doing? Oh wow. Ooh. Oh my God. Y'all are just okay. Meeting of the minds, right? But okay, so the way I can explain it is basically let's say there's just these really, really, really popular people. We'll just call them popular people here, okay? They're kind of like upper management of the church, right? I'm doing that so I don't get censored or whatever. So all the popular kids, they are doing these really bad things. I don't know what they are. I don't know why they're doing what they're doing. I don't want to know really why they're doing what they're doing. I just know that when people say that things like SRA, which is Satan, ritual, I can't even say SRA or ritual murder. I'm gonna say it. Fuck it. When they say that those things don't exist, the only reason they don't exist or they're hard to prosecute is because of the religious aspect, proving that they worship Satan, that they have a satanic Bible right there. You can't prove those things. I mean, it's very hard, right? And then usually whenever someone undergoes that kind of abuse, it takes a long time for the brain, for it to even surface. And a lot of people, sometimes it doesn't happen till late in life. Sometimes it don't happen till your early 20s. Sometimes it just, the mind is a mind fuckery, basically. But that's where I think people that are popular and work in upper management of maybe the church, maybe that's why it behooves them to have people like Jodi Hildebrandt. Who's that other one? Harker. Maurice Harker. David Hamblin. Robert Hamblin. Thom Harrison. I mean, it's just right off the bat, right there. Those kind of therapists to work with the church to pass off these unethical practices, to confuse the victim who's going there for therapy, who was sent there by, let's say, their church, who's paying for it, who then misdiagnoses them, but then codes it under something else so that they can get paid, which is illegal. Not to mention wrong. It's wrong. And anyways, that's just one aspect of it. But I feel like, this is how I see it, is that they are employing or have an agreement or assigning, that's their calling, maybe, I don't know, these therapists to go in and say that these things are, hypnosis and things like that, and they're false memories, and that they're gaslighting. Okay. 101 projection. That's what the church does. So to me, that's what this is. And they have, I don't know if it's a cabal. I don't know all that stuff. I don't know what their end game is. Besides, it's pretty shitty. All I know is it required the sacrifice of Tylee and JJ and Charles and Tammy. That's all I know. I'm on this end of it. So when people say that that is a conspiracy theory, I don't give a fuck about QAnon. I don't give a shit about the president. I don't even vote. I can't stand it. I can't. I'm like, ugh. I'm not going to pick the lesser of two evils. You know, I'm just like, they both suck. I don't know. Shame on me, you know, whatever. Judge me. But it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know, but I'm learning through Goel, who's the guy who's been bringing to life. I've been saying it. He's bringing to life the David Hamblin case, which involves allegedly David Leavitt, which, I mean, when I saw the headline for Fox 13 News a long time ago that said ritualistic child sex abuse case involving cannibalism, I was like, no. No. I mean, my family, you know, Tylee and JJ were just found murdered, dismembered religiously. Okay? It's in the indictment. So there's that. Go L. Yeah. Go L. Yes. Go L. Right here. So many things to keep up with though, right? Thank you. But where was that? Oh, so this headline comes up and I'm like, what the hell? And then, you know, just right around the same time, Operation Underground Railroad, they surfaced on my radar. And I was like, there it is. There's something far more dark and far more sinister. That must be it. Okay, yeah, cool. And I mean, I've always been interested in anti-trafficking. Anytime we'd see a news story, not of OUR, but just anytime they make an arrest or whatever, I'm like, oh, right, yes. You know, I don't know, just always catches my attention. Yeah. Right? That's where we're originally from. Acadian. L'Acadien. Oh, girl, don't catch on fire. Okay, sorry. Okay? Don't try to prove anything. No. Bring a fire extinguisher and one of those satellite phones. Sorry. All right. Oh, God, Rombo, where you been holding all this back? I know you've been researching cults. I knew that. But dang. Wow. Interesting. I can't wait to go look all this shit up, right? Okay. Thank you. I gotta put a star by that. All right. You get a star. Oh yeah. I've always wondered if that was the mark of the beast or whatever, you know. I don't, and so this is where I'm at. Okay, I'm gonna have to shut the comments right there so I can think. But so whatever. I'm gonna use their words because I don't know. It's so hard. It's weird to even talk about, much less try to be creative about it. It's obviously not working. So the elites, whatever they are, whomever they are, I don't give a shit who they are, except for the people that are responsible for my family's murders, who called the shot, so to speak. The shot callers. You know, I got to make a joke out of it. Because it's uncomfortable. And I mean, I'm a nothing burger. And I mean, I don't want to put my family, any more of my family, in harm's way. And I don't want to be murdered. I don't want to be retaliated against. Not for speaking my truth. What is wrong with that? Whatever I find, don't judge. I mean, I don't judge people. I'm just like, what? Who's Q? I mean, I actually have a note. Yeah. Been taking notes like these since the beginning of this. Ran across one and it was like, look up or Google Q. I was like, what the hell is that? I don't even know. Okay. But my research brings me to this very thing. this conspiracy theory, that this label, okay? In a world of no labels, try to that's how I see I don't see labels. I don't see the color, the religious, the creed. I don't see all that. I mean, it's not important to me. I'm not like, oh, that person is white, and it's just not. I don't know. Anyways, but so I mean, I just look at it. I just look at things that way. Very big, the big picture, right? And so how I see it is that, or how I've come to see it is that I'm researching the very thing that they are saying that they are not. The Gadianton robbers, the secret society, whatever they want to coin themselves and throw it out there into the world for people to latch on to and throw a label on it. Because it works, obviously. It works for them. They continue to get away with murders and all the other things that I can't say. All the bad things. They get away with it because they're spinning it. This is them gaslighting us. They're the ones throwing the narratives. They're the ones throwing the labels. They project, remember? And I mean, I just basically see even how this is going to throw some people too. I don't know, Janelle. How in the general conference, the recent general conference, how it's think celestialer, right? Well, John Pontius said that in a paper a long time ago, before he died, obviously. Think celestialer. What else was it? Zion. Oh hell, never mind. Anyways, so they call the celestial king, or people I've heard call the celestial kingdom, the terrestrial kingdom, and the telestial kingdom the TK smoothie. A while back, it was one of Chad Daybell's court dates, and this is back when my other mod was on here. Oh crap. Anyways, and I was like, oh my God, I found Oprah's name, right? We always heard that Oprah was, according to Chad's doctrine, right? Because everybody's trying to, I'm not going to like tag him with something that's not his or hers. Why? Because it does no justice for the victims. So pinning it something that's not just Chad's. He's not like, I'm a prophet, follow me, obviously. Nowhere. I don't see it. I don't hear it. He's just like every other patriarch in this church, with the flexing his patriarchal muscles. I do see that as an outsider. I see that. But I mean, again, I've opened up so many other books that are written by LDS leadership. Bruce McConkie. Holy crap, Hunter, I forget his name, prophet. He was a prophet at one time. Hunter something. I got the coming of the Lord over there. I got the books. And they all say the same thing. Basically, it's the same pattern. It's the same. It's like a cookie cutter, but they just kind of change the story. Chad's train stream is just like President Hinckley's, but I think he's talking about baseball. Chad's talking about freaking trains. It's the same thing. Visions of glory, same pattern. I say pattern because it matches. They're saying the same thing, and I don't know why. I don't know what. It's, I don't know, I guess for people who can learn this language, who learn this, and maybe let's say they're not religious, say they're not religious at all, and they're just reading it like it's a treasure map, or whatever. Look at Joseph Smith. Hello, he was a treasure hunter. I mean, I don't know, but it's too intertwined with the Constitution, which Tim Ballard. Oh my God, y'all! That's a long time ago. I let you guys know about the Mayflower Compact, which was something that Nancy James had written on one of their podcast episodes. It was after Thanksgiving, so the kids were just murdered, and it was weird. It was weird how it was worded. I have screenshots somewhere, but I'm not gonna find it right now. And it was something to the tune of about after a long break, Thanksgiving break, and we feasted and the harvest, and the other keyword trigger word for me was the Mayflower Compact. It was things she was grateful for. Okay, and I was like, "What the hell is a Mayflower Compact?" Google search. It brought me to a Wikipedia. That's where I started. Brought me to a wiki page, and I was like, "What?" Well, I clicked the links. I have so many things saved, and I leave breadcrumbs. That's what I call them, breadcrumbs, because y'all gonna see a digital trail. Follow the trail. Um, I mean, that's why I have so many things in storage. You know, I have almost 2 terabytes filled just by myself, you know. But it's all these things. Well, anyways, the Mayflower Compact. And so as I'm going, you know, I orbit. And so I'll revisit something. I'm like, oh yeah, you know, I remember them talking about the Pilgrims. And then when I figured out, I'm like, is Nephi Christopher Columbus? Or I still don't even know. I'm just guessing. And then I'm like, huh? This is not how I remember it. And I remember like being in a play and I had a part to read, and that's when I could read and read good in front of people. But still, it was just like, and then you have the past live document, right? Which is not really past lives. Now I can go into the Joseph Smith papers, okay? And I see the same names. I see. And it tells about all their histories and da 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 da. And I'm like, these are just roles. These are like, here's your invitation, here's your call out, so to speak. And you know, here, um, take basically the church married Chad and Lori, and that's how they met. Okay. If it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for Jason Mel and Melanie Gibb, and I'm thinking Elder Ballard and maybe Elder Renlin, because they became zombies for some reason. And they became, and I mean, I don't know who dubbed that. I don't think Chad and Lori wrote that infamous Reddit email, which was really an email that my mom got from Nate Eaton, actually, also. And other people had copies of it. Somebody with the first name of A, their initials are AV. They uploaded it along with Anna from Hidden True Crime. A couple people had it, right? Uploaded it to Reddit or to the Mormon, ex-Mormon. I don't know. I didn't see it there. I never went and read it. I just heard it and I was like, oh my God, that's so stupid. But so it makes me think that it was Melanie Gibb and David Warwick that actually made that, talking about Chad and Lori. They met technically September 23rd, 2018 at a Preparing a People Mesa event. During that time, this is memory, during that time, one of the 3 Nephites, Mathoni, it's one of the first presidency, one of the brethren, one of the leaders, told Chad that a special woman would come into his life. Okay. And then boom, here is Tammy's eternal friend. Okay? Polygamy. It's practiced secretly. Second anointing. No, you don't have to be a high up. I'm sure they all are too. Again, I think somebody up in the upper echelons requires the payment of sacrificing children. I don't know what that means because they're not exactly like very transparent. So I have to guess. I have to speculate and I have to go on, just trying to figure this shit out. But it sounds so crazy. It is crazy. Designed that way to keep us stupid and ignorant and divisive. Do you notice the divisiveness? It's my way or the highway. It's bad. The second coming, in my opinion, this is just pure speculation on my part. Pure guesstimate. The second coming, I think, is whenever the globalists or whatever the popular kids, do what they do and control us all the way. I mean, we're damn near there. It feels like. I'm like, wow. But I think that is what they call the second coming. I don't think that has anything to do with Jesus Christ. I think I don't know. I'm just speculating. Again, I'm like, well, they use the scriptures though. These people, a lot of these people, not all of them are in the religion business. But it's like they're using the scriptures. They use them to keep us in bondage, to keep us in the dark. Then they mock Jesus Christ in these ceremonies, in these rituals, in these sacrifices. Don't tell me that Tylee, just Chad and Lori and Alex just felt like chopping her up. No. And it brings me when Lauren went to that field, I was like, there it is. That's it. I mean, so that means in my conspiracy theory over here, it means that there are more people in Rexburg that know about this. And, they're just chilling. Not everybody is as they appear. Here we have David Hamblin through GoL, the research he's bringing to light for me, that's filling in so many questions, so many answers for me. Where he's starting to tie Tim Ballard in because he thinks he's part of the Church of Satan in California. San Bernardino, that's where Lori is from. And most of this happens, all this ABUSE happens in southern Utah, where Chad is from. And so he brought that aspect. I got a fingernail file. He brought that aspect up to me. I was like, oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know that. And the way he's researching, he's connecting where they actually crossed paths and worked together or were serving callings. There are still some that are serving callings. And so he says that they're the Church of Satan. That's what he dubs them as. And so, on one of the podcasts, I think it was the We Are the People podcast, Jason, the host, asked, why are they in the LDS church? I mean, they're in all churches, right? They're everywhere. And, he was like, because that's what they're doing. It's like part of their mission, so to speak, is to blend in, be one of us, and to just deceive and whatever. I don't know what that means. I am not trying to get biblical or anything, but just according to folklore. There you go. But like the scriptures written by men, right? Compiled by men, translated by men, retranslated by men, translated correctly by one man. Joseph Smith added to, mocked, blasphemy. So while I believe in source, God, my God, source, whomever made me, I don't know who or what, I don't know what that looks like. I just, here we are. And I won't know until I die, or maybe not. Maybe it's just lights out. I don't know. Party's over, right? And so, but there's something bigger at play here. I don't know if it's a whole organized thing. Feels like it. People are put, and this is what I've learned from Goel, is people are put into certain places, like David Leavitt, like Sean Reyes, just, I got friends in low places, high places too, right? And we wonder why these people go unprosecuted, unscathed, I mean, just nothing ever touches them. Yet my nephew showed up in a box of about yay big. That's his body. That's his remains. And that's not how he left here. It's just, this is real and reality. This is not just a conspiracy theory. I don't have a theory. I'm just trying to, I'm like, what? And so I know I'm probably not making sense. I'm trying. It's so big. It's a global thing. It's a worldwide problem. And I just feel like they manipulate a lot of us, all of us, whomever they can. And it's like Nazi World War II or whatever. I say I don't know all the things to speak not ignorantly about them. It's really easy for me to just be ignorant. But anyways, it's just kind of leading up to that again. And I think that's just my opinion. I'm not here to scare you. I'm right here with you, right? We're all here with one another. And we are not machines. And we do have common sense. And we have the ability to communicate with one another. Meeting of the minds, not in a nefarious way, but just discovery, just self-discovery. Discover the world around us, to be aware, just self-aware, just about what's going on. I have learned so many things through people's comments and everything, that I've learned more from your comments all over the place. Everybody's comments, I'm like, oh, okay, I never thought of that. Or because we all have something to contribute, and we're not robots yet. And so I just, mind control. There you go. I even had an impression, I guess you could say. I don't know, or I could picture it. This is how I picture it. It's going to sound weird, like everything else. But why does the weird stop at Chad and Lori, right? It keeps on trucking because it's still happening. Okay. You got Blaze, Thibodeau, the Thibodeau story that came out, the latest Second Coming people. Same story. I don't know. I'm like, what the hell? But Chad and Lori are locked up, right? Well, okay. That should have been put to bed, right? That narrative, that pattern. And it's not just because like-minded people, it's no. That's because source is still on the run, on the loose, where it's coming from. And so, I'm sorry. I'm going to come back to this mind control thing. But Goel, and I'd read this, I forget what day it was. It was one of the days that Tim Ballard stuff come out. John with Mormon Stories podcast was live. And then I don't remember what day it was. And right before he went live, or I forget who went first. I went first. And then he went live. Not planned or nothing. I'm just saying this is how it happened. And So I had shared for the first time with everybody here in chat, you know, Goel writes on Substack, and I subscribe to him. I pay to support his work. I suggest you do the same if you can. This is not cheap. It is very, very, very expensive. But and I appreciate his work. And I know a lot of people will benefit from it, especially the Hamblin daughters, you know. Well, and so I shared some of what he had wrote, because he wrote about Tim Ballard being excommunicated. And I was like, well, he's writing about Tim Ballard. Wow. I mean, I'm sitting here learning about the David Hamblin, David Leavitt case, all these crazy people, right? Not in the inner circle of Chad and Lori, but connected. And here he comes, you know, with a whole blog post or whatever about Tim Ballard. And I'm like, well, there you go. My intuition, right? It's just noticing the same. I'm just like, oh my God, this is horrible stuff. I don't know if I want to read this, but it's about the same thing that Tylee and JJ went through. Okay. And that's just being real with myself. That's just trying to be true to what they may have or may have not gone through. I don't know. Either way, people are going through it. And I'm not going to sit there and tell them that it is a conspiracy theory and that their abuse is false. I'll be damned. Can you imagine? The Hamblin girls, you know, the Hamblin daughters stumbling across people's comments and saying, oh, that's been debunked. Tell that to my trauma. Tell that to the pain that I'm feeling. You know, tell that to my heart. Because that's not, I don't know. We're disconnected people. But anyways, so, yeah, through him, he wrote about Tim Ballard. And so I shared it in my live and I was like, oh my God, you know, and I was like, and I read it. And then John Dehlin went live or whatever. And, he read Goel's article too. And I was like, well, that's weird. You know, here I am thinking Goel's like my little, I'm real quiet about that because I'm just like, oh my God, people just they're not really open to this stuff happening because it gets smacked with a label as mental, crazy, QAnon, conspiracy theorists, right wing nut, whatever the hell, whatever label, all the labels. And I don't, it's like, I don't want to run anybody off because of, you know, how I'm maybe perceiving that. I know I have plenty, and that's okay. It's just something I have to get over with myself. Anyways. But it's hard. It's hard because, and I mean, I hear this person over here talking about this, and I hear this person, I hear both of them, and I get both sides of the argument. I do. But then my heart's like pulling me and it won't let go. And it brings me right here every time. And because because it's the kids' stories. It's Tylee and JJ's stories. And they're not here. They're not here to tell us. And so if we just if we just settle on what mainstream media basically is spinning the narrative as, I mean, if you notice when the story comes out, everybody's like, oh, I mean, me too. But then when you walk it back just a couple notches, then you're like, wait, hold on. I'm not falling for this again. That's kind of like what I did with the Thibodeaus. Now, I'm not discounting what happened. I don't know the whole story, and it just sounded like caca. Wait, hold on. Let me go get them. It sounded like
Bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
it just sounded like some bullshit. I don't know. And so, anyways, I don't know. I just feel like if I were to turn my back on diving and continuing down this path, all of me is like, oh my God, they've ruined everything. Okay. Everything, pretty much, from pop culture, the Cranberries singing the zombies, which they can never ruin that. But anyways, you know what I'm saying? They've pissed everywhere. They're just like territorial. they've a wet blanket totally, and I want to enjoy my life again. And I'm like, this is so big. It goes so big, global. And I can see it going all the way up that way, up north. And but I also see the good in humanity. And I'm just like, oh my God, I just have to have faith in humanity and in myself, right? And that's what we have to do, and stop letting their little, you know, every time they fart, okay, we're like, oh my God, you know, and then we got to catch ourselves and be like, wait, critical thinking, right? It is a superpower, but it's really not. It's just we've been told by so many different systems, mind control. I don't really know much about it, but I get it. That we're now. I heard John DeLynn even saying the other day, feelings aren't facts, is what he said. I heard Lauren the other day, and I don't think she meant it in this context because, I mean, I get it too. I don't know. I really don't know. But like, feelings aren't facts is what John said. And I mean, I get that. No, they're not facts. Follow the evidence, right? But it's a whole system that works together. I'm not saying rely totally on nothing but your emotions. Don't do that shit. Have you ever seen a woman on PMS or PMSing? Okay. No, don't do that. Okay. But they all work as a system, you know, I don't know how, but they just do. They work together. And that's how we came. And so I'm saying don't totally discount your feelings, your intuition. Don't silence that. Society is telling us that trusting in our own intuition, our own internal soul source, whatever, I don't know what it is, your hub. And they want us to shut that up and follow their evidence, what they want to show us, because that's what they're doing. They're projecting, right? So, me too. I like my dreams. Yeah. I don't have them all the time, but when I do, and they say you can have up to 20 or you have up to 20 dreams per night, and usually the one you wake up to is the one that you remember. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, that's so cute, right? Or a dog even. I'm not comparing, you know what I mean? But like just anyways, just yeah, natural stuff. So sorry. Damn vocal cords. But I don't know. I just know that it is bigger than just Chad and Lori. It is going to happen again because the culprits are still at large. But that's why I see it as like a mafia, a crime. I don't really know the system, but if it's MLM shaped, then you know, I kind of get the drift. Or if it's shaped like the church and the people and the governing bodies and da da da, then okay, I can see the system, right? And so the system, it's like when Chad and Lori were like, or when everybody said, okay, Alex is the fall guy. Alex is the fall guy. And I'm like, yes. And then I'm like, Chad and Lori are the fall guys too, guys. Okay. They're middlemen and they got duped too. And I say duped, but you can't fool. They wanted it. They wanted it, or it wouldn't have happened, in my opinion. Because you say, oh, hell no, mother effer. And then, you know, you know what I mean? You go PMS on them. But you get what I'm saying. But it fooled them, even the very elect, right? I don't know. I know it's crazy. It's deep thoughts by Kresha Easton. Sunday Night Live, right? I haven't had one in a while either. I thought I dreamt about Walmart, but that was actually a video I watched of a girl getting hemmed up by the Walmart popos. I was like, oh wow, I never saw what actually happens if somebody steals or whatever. Anyways, it was crazy. I found a new little channel where they have nothing but body cams. Anyways. But and we dream in color. A lot of people, some people don't. Some people don't remember. I don't know. I don't hardly have nightmares. In my dreams, it's like kind of like how I saw Uncle Charles and JJ. Where's that picture? I know we're at 3 hours again, because I was like, no, I'm not gonna go long again tonight. Here I am. Where's it at? It's in there. Anyways, it's the picture that came with the frame. Okay, I got this frame after I got this impression, and it was Uncle Charles and JJ, and they're standing. Uncle Charles is to the left, JJ's to the right of Uncle Charles, and Uncle Charles is looking like their backs are to me, right? And so their backs are to me, and JJ, he's short because he's not a grown up in my dream or whatever. Maybe in Lori's, but not in mine. He's still just a 7-year-old little kid. Okay. And so Uncle Charles they're hand in hand, and JJ's looking straight. Like all I see is the back of his head. And I see Uncle Charles, the back of him too, but I see his profile, right? The right side of his face. And he's just peering down at JJ, and they're hand in hand. And he's just in awe of this. He's in love with this kid. Anyways, and so they showed me that. And this is right as the story of the kids being missing even hit media. I try to figure out where or when I had it. 'Cause I didn't write it down. I was just like, what the hell? And I had to tell my mom and Larry. I mean, I didn't want to tell my mom and Larry, but I had to tell them. I had to. And so I even prepped them a little bit. I was like, hey, had a dream. Uncle Charles showed me something, and just let me know when you're ready to hear it, And so it was Christmas Eve, 2019. So the kid's story, I mean, just literally like within days. And anyway, so finally, after a while, after the kids opened up their gifts, JJ's shark pajamas are still hanging right there in the living room, And yeah. And so I was like, Mom, I mean, can I tell y'all now? Because I mean, I have to get it off of me, or it won't shut up. It's like loud, or it repeats. And anyway, so yeah, and so she sits back, and Larry sits back, and I had just sent him the bus video, right? I was like, oh yeah, look what I found. Anyways. And so I'm like, okay. And the hardest thing to do is to tell my mom and my dad what was shown to me. And that was Uncle Charles hand in hand with JJ. And not entirely. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know. And that they were hand in hand, and everything I just told y'all. And so Mom, she just kind of sat back and she took a deep breath. And she said, well, what sense? What kind of, was it a bad feeling, a good feeling? What was it, you know? And I was like, I hadn't thought about it, you know? So I thought, and I was like, oh, I was like, it was joy. It was, they found each other, because I had experienced an impression before, right after my uncle was murdered. And this stuff is just crazy, right? But special also. Um, that it was like when Mom and Larry took off to go to Arizona to talk to the detective. That happened, and I was like, "Oh my god, what the hell do I do? This is weird." I've had these kind of things happen before, but just what do I do? And I want to help because it's my uncle, and he sounds so desperate. That's the feeling. That's just it was just panic, sheer panic. I just got to tell you my side of the story. There's two sides of the story. I just got to tell you my side of the story. I mean, just over and over and over and over again. And it's just like, oh my God, what? Okay, you know, well, anyways, but, and so I don't know. I just listen with this time with my intuition, with my heart, with my feelings. Usually I discount all those things. So, those are special because they do eventually go away, or they're not very often. And then you're like, wow, I don't really find feathers as much anymore. Of course, I don't go outside at all, but they would come in the house. The feathers would be in the house. I don't know how, whatever. I'm just here. um, but, so yeah, when I told my mom and them that, and I was like, they found each other. They were just, it was peace. And I got a sense that they were moving away from me. This is what even brought me here in the first place, was just to tell you that whenever I dream and like I'm going to punch somebody or move fast or run or whatever, even when I was skinny, it's like it's like I go to punch, I'm like wham, but I'm like, and I never quite make contact. It's just like I'm punching under the water or something, running in the water or through sand and water. I don't know. Everything's so slow. And anyways, I get aggravated with that. But that's how those impressions came off, you know, like I can see, not physically manifested or nothing. It's just in my vision. Right? Which is something that I was always told not to F with. And I don't F with it. It just happened. Trauma. I don't know. That's all I can say. It was trauma. I don't know where these experiences come from. I just couldn't turn away. No way could I turn away. No way. And I didn't go conjuring up anybody. I didn't grab the Ouija board. It happened to me. You know, it just, all I know is what I felt, what I heard, what I saw, what was impressed upon me. And I'm sharing it. And I mean, they're very special, very special. And they've guided me. Just the little things that they, like the songs that would repeat. They don't so much anymore. You know, those songs. I remember we were evacuated for Hurricane Laura, the first of this two hurricanes, the catastrophic hurricanes we had rip up our asses. And FEMA never came to help, right? Kind of like Maui, the fires. Nobody came. But as a community, Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Puerto Rican, Kunas, we worked together. Mennonites, I ate so much good food from the Mennonites, okay? Yum. And appreciate its humanity. And that's the good in people that I believe in so much and I love. And that I hope is not lost, not all the way. Sorry, it's making me cry. But thank you. Ah, ah, that's sweet, Janelle. I think a lot of people do. And maybe the ones that don't believe in these things, maybe it just hasn't happened to them yet. I don't know why. One can be more sensitive or open, or I know that a big traumatic thing happened whenever I found out my uncle was murdered. I mean, it shook me. And it's like with when I told my mom and dad about Charles showing me that him and JJ found each other. And this is right as it's hitting media, right as it's hitting your devices and you're latching onto the story. It just, oh my God, what the hell? It's like everything just opened up, and I mean, just super sensitive. I don't know. Anyways, but to tell my mom and them that, and to know it was just this understanding, like, okay, I told her, what I felt, how it presented to me, how they presented to me. They found each other. They were moving away from me. I got that sense. They weren't like walking. I couldn't touch them, and trying to. It's just like I don't want to say vision, but anyways, people buy into it or they accept it more if you say it's a dream. And I understand that. Oh God, that's nuts, TC. Oh, well. But it was like just this, I passed that message on where it needed to go because it stopped being, repeating or driving me crazy. And I got that message to where it needed to go. And we just like, I just remember just like, okay, I just told them basically they're dead, without saying they're dead. But it's like we have hope in us, right? We have hope and we don't give up on that till we find the evidence, right? There's still hope that they were alive. There's still hope that we would find them. You don't listen to all. I go back and I see these chat room and I read comments like a crazy person in all the Facebook groups and things like that. And I have screenshots for days. And people were like, oh, those kids are dead. Oh my God. Da, 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 da. And I mean, I never saw those things. They did not register. When Melanie Gibb did her, KJ says, East Idaho News Extravaganza, right? I did not register those things that she was saying. It's like a protection mode, your brain. I don't know. It's like I couldn't handle it or it just wasn't ready. It's trauma. I don't know. I don't get it. But I appreciate it. It's just like, okay. Fascinating because it allows you to continue on. It allows you to, no matter what, you can't lose hope. And I mean, still not. We have not seen this thing all the way through. Tylee is not home yet. Okay. We may not have rights to her, but I hope somebody hears me, whomever is going to be in charge. Those babies need to be together. That's my feelings. Other people may not feel that way. It may be something I have to live with. And it's, it's just for me to figure out. It's not going to bring them back. None of it is. But there's times whenever JJ, I don't know, it was just weird. Or I could just tell, I could sense it. You just sense these things. And I mean, if Jason wouldn't have been there a lot of the times, I was like, dude, I'm going crazy. Straight up going crazy. Because I mean, it'd be 11:05 to 11:08 p.m. That's the time frame. I'd look at the clock. And I would feel since it was so fast. It was kid-like, it was childlike. It was JJ. I was just like, "Oh, JJ's here." Okay, and he would just like, whatever. I sensed him like a kid, like my bonus son runs up to my side of the bed, and I'm just like, and then as fast as he comes in, he's gone. Okay, you know, mm, okay, whatever. But yeah, they are. Yeah, Donna, totally. My reptile brain. Oh Lord, they are. They're so close to it, Larry is a very empathetic person too. Big time. And so I mean, I know how some people feel about these things. That's why I haven't really talked about it. Don't know why I'm doing it now. uh yeah, I know. Whatever. They're going to label. They're going to whomever is just unhappy with themselves and have to project that hate or whatever onto me or you or any of us, then whatever. That's on them. We cannot do anything but love them and hope for the best. Just don't entertain that shit. Yeah. But to have hope, right? And so all those things, all those comments, all those experts on TV saying, I don't think them kids are alive. It did not register. And I just really think that's a mechanism that's just built in there. And it's just like, it's not magic thinking, in my opinion. I don't think this is magic thinking. This is like, what the hell? And it's special. And that's the things you're not supposed to exploit or, of my understanding. A gift is a gift. And just like in everything else in this life, you can go extremo with it. I don't think that it's bad to earn your time, you're vesting yourself into things, right? No matter what it is. Okay. It's not free. Time you never get back. Okay. And so if that's what you do, that's what you do. But it's when the ego kicks in, then that's when it's freaking problem. Money, power, sex, right? I don't know. Yeah, that's a good word. Thank you. Shock. Yeah. Oh, and it was. And then distance, not being there, but then great. And I know this sounds bad, but grateful for the coronavirus because then it was on TV and it came here. It was right here at home. That's how I stayed connected. And that's, I think, why I deal with it the way I do, is because this is where I connected, is through the technology, through the YouTube, you know? And so that's why maybe when I was in Boise and out of my element, I had a rogue freaking moderator who's like, trust me, stabbing me in the back the whole time. Right. Didn't know either. It was just like, okay. Oh God. And I was in Boise. And I mean, I'm 45 years old, not like my parents are like, I'm not like a 2-year-old. Okay. They're dealing with this too. It's not like, you know what I'm saying? Anyways. But that's why I would go live and you guys would ground me. You guys were my comfort. I just want y'all to know that. It's like it would just recalibrate. I'd recalibrate, recenter, and just kind of get my bearings right. So I could just kind of find myself in all this. It's not a red carpet. Okay. It's not cool to be related to the murdered person or have victims that you love gone. Yeah, it's not cool to live this out in a public realm. Of course, nobody would even know about me if I didn't even do this little bit right here. So I put myself out here, right? I have nothing to lose. Okay. And I think it's okay to be open. It's okay. It's okay to have feelings. I tell my 7-year-old this all the time. If you're angry, be angry. Be angry. Be pissed off. But don't be pissed off forever, you know? It'll eat you up like a cancer. And that's when they win. That's how they win. Anyways. Yeah, no. But people do. I've witnessed it first. I'm like, I don't understand. What the hell is this? I'm not famous. My parents aren't famous. But then it's like people will come up to you and you're hugging them. They're crying. And I get it. It's just like, oh my God, it's something so horrific, tragic, and you're vested. I get it. You know, I'm not faulting anybody, but it's like a flip of the script. And it's like, huh. And it's like, I may be okay, we're okay. But you know, you meet somebody and just all the emotions come to the surface. And it reminds me of whenever Larry and Mom visited the property when they unearthed those babies' bodies from Chad Daybell's backyard. Let's not ever forget that. Where he could see them while his wife was alive, while he was trying to kill her, allegedly. Okay. And he was trying to get a double wide and park it on his property with his kids moving back in with him. While he was trying to move into neighbors' houses in their basement and get them to put their houses up for Lori to bond her ass out of jail. Okay. Let's not forget these little things. They're done, you know. Chad is just doing what he can to save himself because that's all he thinks about is himself. I hope it was worth it. I don't know what else to say. Attaboy? I don't know. Better luck next time. Right? Mormon time, right? Yeah. But I just know that those Tylee, JJ, Charles, Tammy, Joe, just these 5. They're very special to me. They're very special to you. And they're loved and they're missed, but their light still shines, and that's through us. And that's through their stories being told properly. That's when I hear them. That's when I see them. That's when I feel like they're getting justice. I know that sounds maybe a little selfish, but because I don't know, obviously, you know, people are like, well, they're dead. Well, I mean, I get it. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure this out in my mind. Just whatever I do, I hope that if there is a heaven and they're looking down, whatever, then I hope that they're proud of me, of you, of us, of humanity, you know? That's it. And not just them, but, you know, people that we know and love that have passed and, you know, just anyways. But so what I'm saying, moral of the story is Tim Ballard sucks. No. But hope is important. Having people, a community around you when you're going through the worst time of your life, it's so unsure. And all these things are happening and you don't even know what to make of them. You're just getting gut punched time after time after time after time. It's like regular life, but on speed. And you feel like a punching bag. And before you can even process what was just, you know, delivered to you in your gut, like a speed bag, the next wave is already coming at you. But you have this beautiful community that you love and respect, even the ones that get on your nerves, you know? And there's a reason they're here, and I appreciate what they do. I appreciate what everybody does and contributes because it's your time, it's your energy, it is your time. You're invested in these kids, in my family, and Charles and Tammy and Joe and JJ and Tylee, and the truth and justice. Y'all are here for it. Time after time. And that is the positive side of this. The only not the only, but it is a big thing. I can't imagine, at first I couldn't imagine doing this with you, with the public. Oh, hell no. Right? Mm-mm. And then now I don't know how anybody does this without you. Really. I mean, if I ever had a organization, it would have like a bunch of you and something. Let's say a kid goes missing, okay? And you would just go zoom to their, like an army, just go over there and just be you. And just be you. And it's just beautiful, right? And that's what we do. You know, I just hope one day I can pay you back. It seems impossible. And not that it's nobody's keeping score, but just, I can't. It's like when you say I love you and it just doesn't feel adequate enough. It's like it's just not, it doesn't give it the that it needs, right? That's what it is. But anyways, whole ass hugs to you too. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you, Donna and Beach Bum. I'll probably done put her to sleep. Beach Bum and Trace and Mary. I love you guys. I love all y'all. Y'all are top notch. Y'all are the popular kids. Ta-da! Yeah. Well, yeah. They helped get them found out, Lee. Actually, I see it as Chad and Lori got them in jail. Right? The ego is big and they will trip on it. We will trip on it. We're not, it can happen to us. I'm not saying murder, but we trip on our egos a lot, right? And boy, does it hurt when you're like, oh, okay, it's time for a humbling. Okay. It's time for me to chop that little pedestal down, come back down to my humble little earth life over here and be like, okay, I'm being a little too cocky. But so Lori and Chad, they got themselves there. They did all the things that got them there. My parents, they refused to just sit there and do nothing about it. And I appreciate, I look up to them for that. And to all the parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, the whistleblowers. You is important. You is kind, you is smart, and you is important. It is what it is, right? But anyways, well, this was fun and long. But that's what she said, right? It's always
Bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
a bullshit. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna wear that shit out. Right? A bullshit. Oh, they just tripped on them in a big way, right? I trip on air, much less my ego. But I don't know. All we can do is just pray for our enemies, right? Or well wishes, whatever your belief system is, whatever that is for you. Anyways, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening to me and for just being here, for being you. Love always wins. And I've learned that you guys are proof of this. You've showed that to me time and time again. Justice for Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ and Joe. We're going to do it.